welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
Ella Vink, who wants to get things motoring a little bit here. So Vink just trying to push on a bit. Obviously not happy with the pace of this Category 4 race. They're only 2 seconds from Sanchez, and I think we're going to see a second group form on the road, but they are indeed 12 seconds behind the leading group at the moment. We have Fua, McCarthy, Menezes and Guerra, 4 riders at the front of the race in the Category 1 because the Aquarium climb. That is what has done. The catch about to be made. The blue jerseys coming onto the back of the leading Category 4 race. The 6 riders leading the Category 4 race are about to be caught by the pack in the Category 3 race. Camilla Allberg in Category 2 is doing the business at 35.2 kilometres. She's on the descent of the Tel Marib climb, the first climb of this sandy climbing section. She's dropped the group behind. 45 kilometres of racing for the women today, 532 metres of climb, and Guerra at the moment is leading the Category 1 race. She's extending her lead on these short, sharp climbs from Kate McCarthy is now 15 seconds. 43.9 kilometres on the right hand side of your screen. This is the Category 3 race. They are coming towards the end of this race. They've got 1 kilometre to go and 2 riders in contention. Anna Embring goes. Does Van der Veer? Yes, she does. She tries to respond. She's in the draft, but she's not got the kick of Embring. Anna Embring is going to win today. Category 3. First place, Anna Embring.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مشاهدينا الكرام متابعينا في كل مكان، أهلا وسهلا بكم.
نعود ونشاهد اللاعبة السورية رشا زيدان متواجدة هنا خلف الكوكبة ب40 ثانية، ولكن ما زالت محافظة على مركزها التاسع. هي ضمن التوب 10 إلى حد هذه اللحظة. ريجينا دي غراسيا متواجدة الآن ضمن الكوكبة، تستعد للانطلاق في السبرنت الأول. السبرنت الأول بعد 200 متر سوف يظهر الآن القوس الأخضر. اللاعب جينا ريكاردو تنطلق من الكوكبة بمحاولة بريكاوي الأسترالية. تفاجأ جميع المتسابقات عند بداية الكيلو 2 و300 متر قبل بداية السبرنت الأول ب 200 متر فقط، وتبتعد عن الكوكبة مباشرة ب7 ثواني. ماريا هولدكرافت تنطلق. بريدجيت خلفها مباشرة، واللاعب الجنوب افريقي متواجده خلفهم. ليزا هيرمسون السويد متواجده. ومن الفائزه بالسبرنت الاول ب 200 متر لاعب بريدجيت. تيمك اللاعبه متواجده في مقدمه السباق الهولنديه. تنطلق تصل اولا الى القوس المنقط باللون الاحمر، واتوقع انها سوف تحصل على القميص في هذا اليوم، ولكن أنا إمبريغ تتفوق عليها في النهاية. أن إمبريغ صاحبة القميص المنقط والتنافس على نقطة السبرنت الآن. تنطلق أنجليكا التاميرانو. ستيفاني أيضا متواجدة هناك. اللاعبة ستيفاني تنطلق، وأعطيك من اللاعبة التي وصلت أولا إلى نقطة السبرنت. التنافس قوي على هذه النقطة وعلى هذا السبرنت. كاترين فوهر كما شاهدت اللاعب، كمان اللاعب ميكا سودراستروم تنطلق السويدية أيضا. بريدجيت الكل يتنافس على القميص الأخضر. بريدجيت سوف تحاول الحفاظ على هذا القميص، ولكن ميكا سودراستروم تنطلق بكل ما لديها من قوة. 700 واط وصلت إلى فوق 700 واط بقليل. ميكا سودراستروم تصل أولا. أن إمبريك تنطلق. نعم أن تنطلق وتتقدم أن إمبريك في آخر 50 متر وتستطيع إنهاء السباق بالمركز الأول. أن إمبريك القميص الأصفر والقميص المنقط أيضا.
So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's Qualifier race number 3 in January 2025. A new year, a new warmed up Matt, back from the cyclocross. Matt Payne here in the studio with the one and only
Emma Martin.
Emma, it's great to be back in a nice warm studio and not out in the freezing cold at a cyclocross. Last week's coverage was great. I was watching it on the journey back up as I tried to warm up, huddled around my little iPhone for warmth because it was super, super cold. But you had a great great set of races. I really, really love watching them.
The racing was brilliant last week. And do you know what? I'm just watching those rewinds thinking, why is this all me? I'd completely forgotten you weren't in the studio last week.
It's nice to know I'm so memorable.
Well, we are indeed here for qualifier race number 3. And I'll tell you something, the Sunday race cup for January has been superb with the 6 race categories. We're heading to Alula today and take a look at the course. It's called rolling. Well, I think it's called climbing, but we'll see what our riders think in a while. 47.8 kilometers of racing, 561 meters of climbing, and it starts almost immediately. They come out of the start pen with the small bumps along the road before the new town sprint. Then they head into the Alphaqir Hills. Those are serious rollers, if you ask me. And then we transition through to the 24.3 kilometer marker where the Vessel Rock climb is situated. 5.4 kilometers of climbing, an average gradient of 2.3%, but it's up, it's down, it's flat, it's up, it's up, it's up. We then transition through the Face Rock sprint over the next set of climbs. We drop down through the Siamese Rock sprint, and then the final climb of the day, not a segment today, but 2.7 kilometers of climbing with an average gradient of 5%, takes our riders to the checkered flag.
And it's going to be really interesting, isn't it? The Alphaqir Hills, as you said, I mean, they're the hills that we've seen finishing races previously when we've done things like Tamariba, etc., and the heritage climb courses, those roller coaster finishes. We've got the Vessel Rock climb, which is a really awkward one because of the shape and the way it goes up and down so much. For me, they're really critical. After that Face Rock sprint, we've got that secondary part of the climb onto the top of that section of the mountains before we drop back down again. And that's going to be really telling, because if you break away there, you've got a big descent, but then you've got that section across through the Siamese Rock sprint up onto the climb. I think that could be a really decisive part of the course. We're going to have to see, though, because our 6 sets of riders, our 6 categories of riders will be heading out onto the course. Don't forget, our riders are competing not just for their place in the category, in the overall race finish, but also for the points and for the mountain competition. Now, a single pen today for our riders in all 6 categories. In category 6, we've got the Wheels United squad of Veronica Arias is going to be leading the squad of riders out in category 6, which is our standard category. And Emma, it's a cracking race field.
14 riders in the category 6 race field today, and it is Adriana Flores was 3rd last week, Tanglian was 1st, Driscoll was 4th, May was 5th. We've also got Rachel Hooker in here, Rasha Zidane in here. Can I just say how beautiful that multicoloured jerseyed pen looks in front of us right now?
It is aesthetically pleasing. Will today's course be physically pleasing for the riders? Will it be mentally draining? Time to find out. Our category 6 riders, the first set of riders underway. You can see the purple jerseys of our category 6 riders making the way out onto the course. And remember, each of our categories have a different coloured jersey. And from the gun, it's going, and it's Birdie and Driscoll.
It's always Birdie and Driscoll on the front at the start pen. Do you know, and I know the reason why. That's because Driscoll did indeed, a fair while ago now, have a really bad start. She got her timing completely wrong. So she's worked on it. And now you can guarantee she's the first rider in category 6 out of the pen every single week.
Well, better safe than sorry, really, when you're setting out onto the course. And at the moment, it's put the cat really amongst the pigeons, hasn't it? It's a long way to go not to have the whole of that group together. And for me, in some ways, I'd just be wanting to take it a little bit steady and let that group be together and use the group together, because you're racing in your category.
You are indeed, and category 6 at start pens right at the moment. Really moving well. There's a bit of a tail on the race at the moment already, and 1 or 2 riders just off the back. But I think we're going to see these riders concertina together into a group at the front.
So let's see what happens. The leading group at the moment at 0.7 kilometers into our race route at the moment. And the gap is there. Hadjuk just trying to close that gap down at 1 second. Going to be the last rider coming on. And let's take a look. It is Arias at the moment with a little bit more work to do behind. Hooker's coming as well. Prokofiev and Co. I think they're going to be about 20 seconds down. So they're going to form another group. And do remember, if you are racing and you do get dropped, there are lots more riders out on course. So find somebody to ride with, jump into that group with them, and then work together on those flat sections. It does make it so much easier when you're sitting in the draft.
Well, and that's it, isn't it? And for our viewers, to tell whether the rider is sitting in the draft, the numbers on the top of the screen, the rider's watts, the time elapsed, the heart rate, and the cadence, and those are related to the rider highlighted in blue on the right-hand side of your screen. If those riders' watts are white, they are not in the draft. If they are green, perfect timing as we switched, it does indicate that the rider is in the draft and able to either reserve some energy, or you start to close the gap a lot quicker because that draft is enacted. And it really does take some practice and a little bit of skill to know exactly when and where you are in the draft.
Yep, knowing when to apply the power, when to ease off, when to come back, when to accelerate, when to ease that off again. That's really, really crucial, isn't it, for our riders? They need to make sure they get that skill practice. And that's why riding so often is really, really important.
And practice does work because you do learn where the draft is. You do learn how much you can back off when you're riding behind a rider and how much energy you can conserve. But you do need to get on board MyWhoosh, and you do need to practice it, whether that's on a social ride, whether that's on a time trial, whether you just enter a race to practice, and there's lots of activities out there on MyWhoosh which you could utilize to do that.
One of the ones I find really good is actually the bot rides, because when you're on the bot ride, because they're going at a steady pace, so you can practice going on and off and on. It's not the ride that I would choose to go on. I would always go on a race given half a chance rather than go on the bot ride because I love racing. But in terms of actually practicing, knowing the step number one for me is getting it's a bit like doing team pursuit, and I've said this before, making sure you get that peeling off the front, dropping in behind, absolutely perfect, not wasting any energy anywhere. Doing that with the bots out on a circuit is a great way of doing that because the bots are running at a steady power ratio. Unlike the group, who at the moment seem to be winding it up.
Well, they are indeed. And Bellet, Connell, Driscoll, Londono, Sulabru and Hooker, all part and parcel of that leading group in Category 6.
So Category 6 away. Our next group of riders to go are our Category 5 riders. You can see what we're doing here, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. In the squads, well, we have the Kitty Hawk racing team. They're going to be captained by Jessica Hamilton. We've also got a little bit of movement in our squads in the race fields as well, with riders moving up and down as well. Really interesting to see how those riders are progressing and moving up, and the categories are changing a little bit. We're still getting that adjustment. Settling into the adjusting to the 6 categories rather than 4, but it is Category 5 who hit the road. Time to go racing in Cat 5. The light blue of Category 5 making its way onto the course, following the purple of Category 6. Remember, all of these groups can draft each other if they do catch them or if they are caught by other riders. So every rider can draft each other, and it does mean that you've got to be aware of that and really plan for that when the groups come together.
Well, 16 riders on the start sheets in Category 5 today, and some really great names here. So Lisa Hopkins at the moment leading the charge. Ferron is there. Sarasu is there. Bonilla. Kirchner is here today. Hopkins, as we've said. Smithson, Lloyd, Narvaez. Now, let's just have a little run through because Isabel Giraldo is here. She took 2nd last week. Jacqueline De Silva Kirchner, she took 3rd last week. Fanucci-Korn Sarasuk took 5th last week. She's on the start sheets. There has been some movement around. Jessica Hamilton, if you'll remember, after week 1 in January, came up from Category 6 to Category 5. She's here. She rode strongly in the early stages last week, but the rest of the group then caught her and went past her. So an early push from Hamilton wasn't rewarded. Now, Diana Corrales, who headed the Category 5 pack in week 1, has progressed to Category 4. So as Matt was talking about, a little bit of settling down in the race fields.
Settling down. I'm not sure it's settling. Yeah, I'd like to say it settles down. I think what we're going to find, though, I think we're going to, in some ways, for me, the riders are progressing, and that makes the job of sorting the race categories harder because riders improve, or in my case, get worse. And so that's really making it difficult, isn't it, for people? There's always this change. You can never be settled.
Difficult. Well, yeah, they're settling down by people finding their place in the new race categories. Once it's settled, then I think we'll find people progress because the racing within their category, they are racing riders. Well, okay, let me put it this way. The new 6 race categories, the packs are tighter aligned, which makes the racing more competitive, which means that people will progress because they get stronger because of the competitive nature of each category.
And they're going to, because we have more categories, you can move up quicker because those bands are narrower as well. So for the same progression, you're going to have more bands. And it's great to see our riders really being able to race and be competitive in those groups. Now, one of those riders, Rona May Joy Mayer, on our screens, you can see the avatar on the right-hand side there. And Rona May just on the left-hand side of our screens, windows open for some ventilation there. And that looks like that is the ADQ, ADQ team, the UAE ADQ team shorts that she's got on there. And great to see. I know they're on a training camp at the moment, the ADQ squad, with their development squad and their main team as well. They're all at one big training camp. I bet that is going to be absolutely fast as anything. And great to see people supporting the race teams.
Well, that's it, isn't it? And tell you something, this is a tight race field pack at the moment. Paolo, Mayer, Giraldo, Solorzano, Kirchner, Ferron, all at the head of this group at the moment, but the group wide across the road and rolling really strongly in the early stages of this race today. There's a lot of racing to go, 47.8 kilometres of racing today for the women here on the Sunday Race Club. And Category 5, well, they are out of the start pen, tightly packed, all sat in the group and rolling strongly together.
And it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, we've got the first of our sprints, first time where you can actually win some prize money, is not going to come until 5.3 kilometres. So plenty of time to make sure that you get yourself warmed up and into the race. I always like races where they don't just go from the gun, but these little bumps, these little rises, definitely testing the riders out at the moment. Okay, so Category 5 are well down the road. Category 6 even further still. We're going to jump in with our Category 4 riders, moving up through our race categories. Category 4, the next set of riders to go in the red jerseys. Now we have the Pedal Queens here with Gina De Grazia and Louisa Schultz. Team Phoenix. Now we've got Camilla Zulago, we've got Dani Girardo, as well as Elena Lopez and Catherine Tompkinson. 4-rider squad. And that's going to be really interesting.
Not to be confused with.
Go on.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to jump in there with the other Phoenix squad.
Well, there's quite a few. There's Phoenix to Koenig, there's Alpecin Phoenix. There's quite a few, one of which is not riding the cyclocross later. But Peter taking a bit of a break. No time for a break for our riders, though. In Category 4, time to go racing. Will it be Team Phoenix? Will they be able to execute some team tactics like we see on the road and on the cyclocross? Time to get out and riding. We're just in at the moment as we make our way through this race field with Adriana Barco from Colombia, just really putting the power down. You can see this is a quick start here today. Slightly bigger race field in Category 4 as well.
27 races on the start sheets in Category 4 today. Natalia Idzik has been dominant so far in the qualifiers. So last week she took the win in Category 4. The week before she took the sprint competition. So really good to see her here. Maria Wilhelm took second place last week. Doreen Chu took 5th. Really, really strong riding and racing. Now, if you are expecting some of the riders who have been racing over the last 2 weeks to be in the race field, let's just remember that riders only need 2 verified rides to qualify for the finals. 3 qualification opportunities this month. This is indeed the 3rd, and some riders choosing to sit out today.
So when they do that, I mean, it's not just that they just want to go sit down on the beach and have an ice cream and maybe just have a nice bit of a chill out, is it? I mean, our riders and races are the same, aren't they? Well, everybody wants to be out and racing, but a lot of it is to do with just having that break and having, if you've qualified, maybe just having that gap in your scheduling, just so that you're not on the go all the time.
Oh, exactly. Everybody needs to take rest.
Really? I might do that one day.
Rest is good. Rest is good. Anyway, Zabala, Mongeli, Schultz, Bago, De Gracia, Vink, Dowling are all in here. None of those taking a rest today. They are all in that pack. But interestingly, pretty much like we saw with Category 6, 1 or 2 riders just off the back of the group in the early stages of this race.
And they need to be back on before we hit that climb, because when the riders at the front go over the climb into that slight little downhill, that's when the speed's going to pick up. That's when that draft takes extra importance. The draft obviously relates to how fast you're going. Faster you go, more draft advantage there is, more advantage you get from being in the green with your watts numbers that are up on the screen. At the moment, though, the riders in Category 4 at 1.5k, and this start, a good start. Idzik, this is going to be really interesting. I think we've seen this increase in race distance. Idzik seems to have adapted to it
brilliantly.
In a blink.
But I'll tell you something, last week when she went over the line, we were exactly like this in the camera shot with her, and boy, she gave it everything.
And that's fantastic. I mean, it takes a long time to adjust your racing distance. I know that from racing on the track and racing time trials, racing road races. You can go from super short race distances to super big race distances. And the variation here isn't that much. We've gone from 35k regularly, and it now varies, doesn't it, from 35 to 50k?
It does, and I would say 35 to 50k is a huge variation percentage-wise. 47.8 kilometres today. It's a lot further than 35.
And there's a lot more meters of ascent. I was looking at the...
You're talking about another 35, 40 minutes of racing.
Yes, yeah. And if you
for these categories.
And if you are a rider who's come from maybe a endurance sport background, which has a long duration, so if you're a road racer who's used to doing 3-4 hours on the road, if you're a rider who regularly goes out and puts those miles in, if you're regularly sitting on MyWhoosh and you're going doing it in every single step or whatever, you're going to be used to those long distances. But if you come from a short, speed skating, for example, or you come
esports racing,
or esports, or some of the esports racing, it's going to be a big jump, isn't it? And it's going to take time to adapt. And it's also going to take time for your mind to adapt as well as your body.
Well, yeah.
Okay, let's jump across. To be continued, this conversation for sure.
Mind adaptation, very key.
Let's see how our riders' minds adapt in Category 3. There's no freewheeling for the freewheeling spirits. That is going to be Barbara Butterware, as well as Gemma Daniels, Rebecca Johnson, and Valentina de Segna. We've got the Grandma Gear Squad here. They're captained by Stefani Piccolo with La Rosa Blanca. They're going to have the one and only Queen of Yorkshire, Holly Bergin. And, of course, Team Golden Light are here with Golden Light representing them once again. We moved up in field size before. We've moved up in field size again.
This is the biggest race field today. So Category 3, it was last week. It is this week. We don't quite have the numbers that we had last week. 42 riders in Category 3 last week. 33 this week. And that's not because they've moved up or down. That's just about who has qualified and who is here. So Anna Embring took the win last week. She's here today. Second place isn't here. And that was Van der Vie last week. She's not on the start sheets today. Julian Walkenhurst took third place. She's here. Leah Sophie Ramett took fourth. She's here. And Julia Montgomery, who took fifth, is here as well. Gina Van Rossum in the mix. She's been doing really well, on the Tour de Monde. She's ridden every one of those stages as well. So, boy, she must have tired legs. But she is getting stronger and stronger. And really interesting to see. Catherine Montoya, Kim Bonilla, Melissa Simkin, Rosa Herrera, Stephanie Briggs has been racing Category 3 as well. Stephanie Briggs has been doing brilliantly in the Echelon Racing League, the Canadian rider.
And that Echelon Racing League, there's been some great racing. The riders in Echelon racing basically about, 12 hours ago? Just over 12, 15 hours ago. It's
Maybe
not
a little bit longer than that, but
it's not all that long ago.
No, it's not.
Look, I could do some quick maths here, but yeah, I might give you 17 at the most, but yeah, it's not all that long ago. Anna Embring at the moment, the rider that is on our screens, the avatar on the right, the rider on the left-hand side here, tapping the rhythm out at the moment. That cadence sitting around that 77, 78 marker at the moment, and just one rider at the moment just drifting off the back of that group. But this pack nicely together, just steadily starting to wind the pace up, I think, here. 36 kilometres an hour is not slow, though.
No, it's not. But do you know what I'm really loving? What I'm really loving is the new names that are appearing on the Sunday Race Club. So Bridget Kiddle, welcome to the Sunday Race Club. Fabulous to have you on board. Stephanie Briggs has been here for a few weeks now. Great to have her on board. Whatever route you are coming in, whether you're coming into the Sunday Race Club because you've been competing in one of the other competitions on MyWhoosh and have been enjoying it and wanted to join the Sunday Race Club, brilliant. If you have seen the changes around the 6 race categories and that's what's drawn you in, fabulous welcome on board. There is Gina Van Rossum on our screens at the moment and concentrating on staying in that group. There you go. Thumbs up from Gina. Yeah, well, she's concentrating. She's listening to the chatter. She's responding well. She's nice and tight in that bunch and they've rolled out of the pen.
They have indeed. And Gina Van Rossum has been riding really, really strongly on the Sunday Race Club. It's really good to see her. I mean, when we talk about riders being used to a platform, Gina Van Rossum really has made that adaptation and is absolutely flying on here. Really good to see that she's so competitive and that she's got riders who are pushing her forward as well.
Yeah, but can I tell you, she's a really smart rider. She sets a very clear plan for what she wants to achieve in each race that she does, and she executes that plan. And that is a smart rider, particularly, as I said, she's riding the Tour de Monde at the moment. She's racing the Tour de Monde at the moment and racing the Sunday Race Club.
And she's racing that as part of the WOW Ladies race team.
She is indeed.
With
Holly Bergen,
who's also in
Rebecca
in
Johnson.
And Rebecca Johnson, who's also in this race field as well.
Sylvia Garria, who's also in this race field as well.
So that's 4 of the team in there. How's the team doing, Emma?
I think they're second overall.
Said with some slight pride there by Emma, responsible for the WOW.
In the women's team competition. Anyway, Barbara Bulwara is on our screen at the moment. She's also part and parcel of this Category 3 pack at the moment and riding really well and strongly. In fact, the push is on at the moment. This is the first small rise at 2.1k, and it's Holly Bergen who is pushing on at the moment as the front of the group. So Category 3 at the 2.3 kilometre marker. Category 4, 5.4 kilometres as they head into the sprint. It's eyeballs out and Pekarova is absolutely dialing it on the front. But the question is, has she set the fastest time?
Well, let me give you a few of the fastest times. In terms of Category 5, Jessica Hamilton taking away top spot because she, of course, takes away the prize top rider in each segment. In Category 6, it was Helen Connell who took the fastest time. Category 4, Emma?
Well, I can tell you it was Louisa Schultz, and we can see because Schultz there switches from the red jersey to the green skin suit. I'm looking behind because I'm looking at the power that those riders put out through the sprint. So the sprint was all about positioning and draft because we saw Pekarova go on the front, really, really strong, 546 watts average for that sprint, 8.8 watts per kilo. Natalia Idzik, 656 watts average for that sprint, 11.3 watts per kilo average. But Louisa Schultz takes it at 558 watts, 10 watts per kilo, lower than Natalia Idzik. All about the draft and positioning. Something else to practice when you jump on MyWhoosh.
That's one of the great things, isn't it, about esports and riding on MyWhoosh is that there's so much time, whether that is dropping in and out of the pack, getting your timing right for sprints, when to attack, when to go hard, when to take it easier. All those things, of course, combine because, and that's the great thing about racing and riding. There's so many different things to learn. I was talking to Nick Craig, mountain bike legend at
in
the UK and internationally. I mean, he's one of the 4 founders of mountain bike racing across the globe. And he was racing in, I think, the vet's 55 to 59 age category. But he regularly rides on MyWhoosh. And he was saying one of the things he likes about it is that you're always learning. It's a bit like cyclocross, that there's always something different terrain, different riders, different racing, different types of racing, different the way the courses change with time. And that's the same thing here. And we see that time and time again. And I think that's really important. And he was saying that's really meant that he uses it now as one of his key training tools. And he did win. Again, another national title. I mean, he's been a world and a world and a European and a national champion more times than I can remember. That's for sure, and really does show.
Well, Doreen Chu on the bike at the moment, listening to the tunes, I'm hoping, as well, as she's riding and racing. Absolutely brilliant. You can see the fan rolling at the moment. She's tightly in that pack in the Category 4 race. She was in the top 5 last week, so a strong performance last week from Chu, and I would expect to see her right up there again towards the latter stages of this race today.
I'm not going to say anything any different, because I think this race, because it's a brand new course as well, and it is something you always say, the first time we're on the course is not the fastest.
Never.
The second time is not necessarily the fastest, but the third time very frequently is.
3 times
and then
the charm.
It eases off a little bit because people get quicker and quicker and quicker, and then they maybe find the point where they've gone a bit too fast, and then they ease back off again, because the time that it's not important how long it takes you to get around the route. It's about getting across the line first and scoring where the points matter.
If anybody wants to do any homework, and you could, of course, do the homework on mywhooshinfo.com.
Yep.
I predict that the fastest time is always set on a monthly final.
Yep. Monthly final.
Should anybody want to do that piece of research for me, please feel free. Or else one day when it's cold, windy and wet and the fire's roaring, I might crack open my laptop and do that piece of research myself.
You'd enjoy that, I know you would. Right, okay. I certainly would. Okay, we're in with Lisa Hopkins on the way through in this race. And just seeing Isabella Giraldo now, but this group has spread out a little bit here. We're at 10.2 kilometers, and we are just heading towards the Alphaqir Hills. That is going to be the first of our climb segments. So points are awarded in each of our segments: 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 in the sprints. Similar in the mountains competition, and those points are added together. So if we've done 1, it's basically whoever wins number 1, who's got the fastest time in number 1. They are fastest through each of our segments. Now, when we go to add up those points, that is what then gives us the total points for the riders and where those prizes are going overall. Because remember, our prizes are for each segment and for the overall title in each stage.
And Isabella Giraldo, who we've just had on our screen in Category 5, took the sprint competition last week in that category and then finished 2nd overall. Strong rider as we drop back into the start pen, but this time it's Category 2.
It is. We're just in with Serena Vittori. However, first of all, let's talk about our teams. We have the core race team here. So Joanna Kalman, Karolina Kolkowicz, along with Sophie Giovanni, a really strong squad. Slightly smaller race field in Category 3, but still a good-sized field with some incredibly strong riders. People like Tiffany Pennant, Ursula Kasani in there, I noticed, running down through Gonzalez Rua. In Category 2, as always, and on a course like this could be a course that really suits her.
Yes, I don't disagree at all, but there are some great riders and races in here, and I'm really looking forward to this today because I think we're going to see a big pack of Category 2 riders go into that Vessel Rock climb together at the 24.3 kilometre marker, while Serena Vittori is leading the charge at the moment. Mina Koinstinen, who is also racing the Tour de Monde at the moment and doing brilliantly. Kate Trident has been racing and riding really strongly, taking the sprint competition in Qualifier 1. In the category, and Kasani, Davidson, Kolkowicz, Karamani, Gonzalez Rua. This is a packed race field of Category 2 riders. 28 riders on the start sheets. Going to have a little run through. So Camilla Olberg took the win in this race category last week. She's been rewarded by going up to category 1. And I'll tell you something, I watched her on the Echelon Racing League yesterday, and she was able to hang. She was in the women's category B rather than the elite on the Echelon Racing League, but she hung with the elite leading pack for a very long time yesterday. They were on the Ghent course in Belgium. She just couldn't stay with them on the climbing, but she came back on the flat regularly. So Olberg being rewarded by a shift on Sunday Race Club up to category 1. And I think that is a well-deserved uplift for Camilla Olberg. Penner took second, Wagner took third, Kolkowitz took fourth, and Kalman took fifth last week. Pia Kuma took the sprint, and Tiffany Penner took the climbs. Anna Sfarstrom is here as well, and I wouldn't discount her at all, or Rhiannon Denton.
I mean, a real spread of riders taking away prize money. And it's really, really great to see. Just see Mina Coyston on the bike there, just keeping those legs.
I'm loving the MyWhoosh jersey.
The MyWhoosh jersey is indeed looking good. It is a great jersey. It's a super bright jersey, and we always like bright jerseys. And Mina keeping those revs at 90 revs per minute. Do give Mina a follow on social media as well. Some really interesting stories from Mina at the moment. And I'm sure people who know, if you know, you know.
Well, German Prado in the pack as well. And it is a look at it. Megan Stevens is here as well today. So it's going to be a tight group. They are tight together. They are steady out the pen. And you can take a look. Anna Sfarstrom's heart rate at the moment, 122. This is a very steady start for category 2.
The speed may be the same as the categories we've seen out earlier, but because our riders' performances are generally they're able to produce better performances in terms of power, in terms of speed, it means that they're going that a little bit easier. Category 2, I mean, has really, really been, I mean, it was always close and it was always tough. In some ways, I think it has been really reinvigorated by having 6 categories, because if we thought it was close and we thought it was hard and some of the closest racing before, it is now. Good to see Matthias Kalman in there supporting Joanna Kalman on the screen. His dancing, thank you very much. I love the tribute to my very bad dancing on the reels.
No. You just copy him.
Excuse me, I did this. Do make sure you follow at Biking Emma for some more bad dancing in the background from me, and good to see me just doing that whilst Joanna attempts to concentrate as we hit this riser going up. It's always tricky, but you see there that little bit of a pause, just eases off, sits back down again, just getting the balance right, putting in enough power but not too much.
Well, completely and utterly. The pack just pushing on the front, but very swiftly settling back down into the rhythm. They're rolling at 36 kilometres an hour, so a really good pace.
So we have had 5 of our 6 categories up and away, and that leaves our elite riders at the very top of the tree. Category 1 to go. Ablock International's riders, represented by Maria Holcroft and Nelly Larson. Rekorba going to be represented by Royce Doyen. We're going to see Sweat Sensations. That's going to be Amelia Velt, Catherine Furr, and Merle Bruni. The Thundercats, well, they have strength index because they have 5 riders here. The biggest team today: Gabby Guerra, Jessenia Menendez, Kristen Kolczynski, Marlon Bjarhead, and Celine Colombi. But of course, a lot of these riders were racing yesterday in the Echelon Racing League, in that elite race as well. The Echelon Racing League wrapping up yesterday.
The championships yesterday.
It was
but
indeed.
I'll tell you something, it's the championships every Sunday on the Sunday Race Club. Catherine Fua, absolutely part and parcel of the pack as they leave the start pen. Hermansen is here, Filensky is here, Columbi, Sidlik, Olberg, who we were talking about earlier, progressing to category 1. Kristen Kolczynski here, and this is going to be interesting. I think this could suit Kolczynski today. I'll tell you who isn't here today, and that is Kate McCarthy. So Kate McCarthy, the world champion who took the win from Guerra last week on the Telmarib course, not on the start sheets today. Last week it was McCarthy, Guerra, Menendez, Fua and Holdcroft. Guerra took the win in qualifier 1 in Arabia from Fua, Colombi, Biarhead and Soderstrom. So a number of different riders on the top 5 so far this month in qualifier 1 and qualifier 2. But I think this is going to be a really interesting race today. And I think we may see a lot of cat and mouse early on and some steady state riding until we get probably, do you know, they always, I say this, and then the category 1 riders always surprise me because I don't think we're going to see much happen here. Even possibly through the Alphaqir Hills. I think it's not going to be till we get to about 25k into this race that we see this category 1 race light up.
I think you're wrong.
You think I'm right or you think I'm wrong?
Wrong.
Wrong.
100% wrong.
Ooh.
100% wrong. There is no way that these riders are not going to take the opportunity. If you remember your course profile, halfway between the Newtown sprint at 5.5 kilometres and the start of the Alphaqir Hills at 12.8, there is a bump. Now, this might look like a little pimple on the big scale of this map, but it's not.
No.
It hurts, it's hard, and it is a perfect opportunity to break this group out, catch out the unwary, and really start the attrition. If nobody goes for it on that climb, I will eat my hat.
Well, I'm not sure Matt has a hat, but Cornelia Engström is on our screen
I've
at
got
the
lots
moment.
of hats.
And she's
I can sacrifice one of them, believe me.
And she's concentrating on that screen at the moment. Big screen in front of her, really, really useful because our riders racing on the data and the information that's on the screen that our viewers can see. So Engström in the mix with Hermansen, Colombi and Van Hove. Those are the riders around her at the moment. Tomasi is there as well. And Mel Bruni going really well at the moment, but doing a big block of training at the moment, being out on a training camp, a lot of running and swimming because she's also an international triathlete.
She is, and a very, very strong athlete in each of those disciplines as well. When you look at the training she does, really interesting to see just how much work goes in. I've trained hard for cycling, and I think that's enough. Doing 3 different disciplines within 3 different sports, basically, within one discipline. Absolutely incredible. Now, Celine Colombi on our screens. Now, Celine Colombi, she was riding well yesterday in the Echelon Racing League, wasn't she?
She was, but I think this course will really suit her today. I think that large block, starting at 24.3, as you go through the Vessel Rock climb, you go through the face rock sprint, and then you climb again. I think this is really going to suit her. The back end of this course is made for Celine Colombi.
Well, we'll see if Colombi's fighting in the sprints or on the climbs. Going through the sprint, Anna Svarsrud in Category 2 kicks her way through there. At the moment, has that green sprint jersey, but will she hold it?
The
answer is no. Pia Kuma coming through to take that in Category 2, so she'll take that prize away. Catherine Montoya taking the fastest time in Category 3. And as we said, we've already covered Louisa Schultz in Category 4. Category 5, Jessica Hamilton. And in Category 6...
It was Helen Connell, and I can tell you that because she's on the right-hand side of our screen in that green skin suit. She's also got the polka dot skin suit as well because Category 6 have been through the Alphaqir Hill section. That's the rolling section. You can see the damage it's done to the group. So Connell now in 1. The rider you can see behind her in purple is Berdian Driscoll in 2nd place. She's 8 seconds back. And then Salubra, she's 42 seconds back. Those are the top 3 in the Category 6 race. But you can see the mix with the light blue jerseys because the leaders in Category 5 are hot on their heels.
And they're on the right-hand side of your screen. Now you can see they've just also come through that climb section. The Alphaqir Hills, repeated climbs and drops. Really, really critical. And it has to be said, Connell's move off the front there, she has backed right off the pace here because she knows that she has already earned herself some points. She knows that behind, with that group coming, she needs some help. And I think she's going to wait for Driscoll. But Driscoll also at the moment, not completely on full gas, which is really interesting. So the dynamics at the moment in the racing really mixed up. Now we're going to take a dive back into Category 1 in with Justinian Menezes, both in person and on the avatar. And that prediction that Emma made that this group, we're going to take it steady. We're talking 35 kilometers an hour, so a fraction slower than we've seen the previous groups coming through. But these riders have a bigger engine generally. They've got a higher top speed. They've got a quicker kick, so that usually would result in faster speeds. Today, not yet happening, but it's just starting to wind, I think, because we're going to go into the next of those rises. The riders will see it in front of them. You can see it's come around this left-hand turn. The road is going to go up. There's going to be a little bit of an increasing gradient. That feel of the turbo trainer, the feel of the smart bike, it's going to increase the resistance. It's going to make it harder. All of our riders running on about 50% as a minimum turbo trainer difficulty. So that sets the standard. They know that they're going to feel that in their legs. At the moment, they're climbing and climbing hard. Not as hard, though, as the riders in the Alphaqir Hills. And that is, at the moment, Category 3. We're in with Julia Montgomery. And Montgomery out of the saddle. That breeze blowing the jersey in real life. And at the moment, the pack are motoring red chevrons everywhere. We're coming up to the summit of the first of those kickers. I'll tell you something. This has shaken the riders. But at the moment, they have stayed together in this group. They haven't managed to dislodge anybody.
Oh, do you know, these are so short and I'm going to start
so
again.
Short and sharp, by any chance?
So short and so sharp. That's a tongue twister for you. But if you are a well-matched group, you can stay together through here. You can just see the tail on the back of this group at the moment, and as they go up and over, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's a really technical section, and utilising the descents to carry the pace into the next roller, really, really critical if you want to stay at the front of the group. So it's about technique as well as power.
So driving over the top. If you've got repeated effort, you can kick not just to the top, but into that descent. Put the energy on the downhill. Use that gravity to your advantage. That's when we see riders now. People didn't split on number 1, but they are splitting on number 2, and it will continue on the way through. Coming out the other side and in towards the banner, though, this is Category 4 in the red being led through at the moment. Catherine Tomkinson with the purple helmet just being overtaken here, I think, as they go through, and it's going to be Idzik who kicks through. Idzik should have the fastest time. She has at the moment. She's got that polka dot skin suit. So Idzik takes the first of the climbing segments in Category 4. He's unlikely to be touched because it's a fast section, and having the draft of other riders sitting in that draft is a big, big advantage.
Well, 11 riders in that leading group in Category 4 going through the Alphaqir Hills. Idzik, Dowling, Tomkinson, who's on our screen at the moment, great job. Mongeli, De Grazia, Schultz, Vink, Alzat, Pekakova, Chu, Wilhelm, and Lopez has now gone through, but she wasn't in that original group of 11. So those are the riders in the leading group in Category 4.
So many of our groups through the first of the climbing section. Category 1, though, coming into the sprint, and they know that there is a prize up for grabs. So you can just see coming charging from the back, though. Massive kick comes diving in all the way through. That is how to put a big kick in. Look at Bridget Walensky go from the back of the group through the front of the group. Is going to take that in style by some margin there. What a ride. Job done.
Perfect.
Money in the bank.
Perfect execution of sprinting technique on the Sunday Race Club from Bridget Walensky. Lay back off the group, kick, ride through the entire group, taking the draft. Ding, ding, take the win.
And really interesting. If that group was moving faster and was going to cover that distance in a quicker time, you don't need to lay it back as much. You need to be at the back of the group. She was laid off the group.
She was.
Because the group was going so slowly. So it's not just, this isn't a fixed formula. The faster the group go, the less you can lay off. But when that group was going so slowly coming into the sprint, it was going to pick up with a quick snap, charge into it from further back, carrying more speed. 13.615 seconds is the result, taking that time. Holcroft close there in time, though. Interesting to see. But didn't manage to do it. Hermansen, I mean, a great sprinter, sits in 6th position
Yeah,
overall.
I know. Category 2, Pia Kuma in that top 5. So was indeed Catherine Montoya from Category 3 taking 4th spot, Anna Svars from Category 2 taking 5th, and then a number of Category 3 riders in that top 10 as well. Latriga, Desenia, also in there, Louisa Schultz from Category 4, setting the 9th fastest time. Some brilliant performances and some really great showing about sprinting technique on the Sunday Race Club through that Newtown Sprint.
So Newtown Sprint, the first of our segments, is where Category 1, the last group of riders out from the race pens,
Oh,
are.
interesting.
Category 6 and Category 5 leaders are together at the very front of the race. They've hit 20 kilometres covered, which means that they are heading in towards the second of our climbing segments, which starts at 24.3k. This is a real mixed group. We've got Category 5 and 6 here, but really interesting here for me is that the Category 6 riders being caught are able to stay with them because it's quite flat and they're making the most of it.
I'll tell you what also is really interesting is Helen Connell was leading that Category 6 race by 10 seconds from Birdie and Driscoll when we were last with the Category 6 race. Driscoll and Connell are now together in this leading group with the Category 5 leaders. Category 5 riders in the group: Hopkins, Bonilla, Schalbois, Salgado, and, she says, Ferron.
Emma stands up in the chair to get a better look at the screen here in this Full Speed Event studios. We're just taking. I mean, we did say when we were watching them last time round that there was an easing off there by Driscoll and by Connell to allow that group to come up, to get that little bit of a rest, to give them a breather, to give them a better chance of staying with them. And that has definitely worked out. So the leaders up on the front on the left-hand side, the leaders on the road. Lisa Hopkins in there as well. Would that be the same Lisa Hopkins that is stitching together the Resolution Women's Wednesdays Racing Series?
It is indeed. The one and only Lisa Hopkins in Category 5. She's right at the head of the race at the moment, and she is indeed stitching together, as Matt says, the Women's Resolution stage race. So 8 stages, Wednesday night, starting the 29th of January. You do need to register. It's an OTR production alongside Level Racing, and Lisa Hopkins is involved. The first stage is the Coffee Trail in Colombia, 27.9 kilometres on the 29th of January. You need to get yourself registered if you are interested in riding, and multiple race categories for the women.
Do get involved. Do jump on board with more and more racing on MyWhoosh. I mean, it is absolutely exploded. There are so many community events. You only need to go onto MyWhoosh info and look at the results of those community races in there. The volume of races is incredible. Plus, in the special events like the Resolution Women's Race Series, do get that entered because there's a lot of races on there. The Tour de Monde has just, it's still got, I think, is it last stage today?
No.
So
there's
a lot
so
more.
Today is Sunday.
Yeah.
There's a race today.
Yep.
Then there's a rest day on Monday,
Right.
and then Tuesday and Wednesday are the last 2 stages of the Tour de Monde.
I knew again towards the end of it in my cold, frozen blur of days going
12 stages on
That's
the Tour de Monde.
incredible.
And hold on a minute, shall I tell you how many riders have raced the Tour de Monde?
Well, I'll tell you what. You go find the numbers.
No, I can tell you right now
Go
how
on,
many
then.
riders have
How
raced
many?
the Tour de Monde. The
Drum roll,
riders,
please.
at least one stage of the Tour de Monde, 511 races on the Tour de Monde.
511 riders racing on the Tour de Monde, and that is why you want to get your registrations in. The big events, always worth a row. You might not think you're good enough. That's absolute bobbins.
Oh, I tell you.
Everybody's good enough. Go
Yes.
jump on board and ride, whatever level you're racing.
You will
or
always
riding
find
at.
someone to ride with.
Yes, even if it's at the back with me. Right.
I haven't yet raced a stage of the Tour de Monde where I've been on my own.
There we go. You could be riding with the one and only biking Emma, biking_Emma on Instagram. You could be riding with Francesco Tomasi, who is at the moment in our leading group in Category 1 as we hit the 9.2 kilometer marker. And Tomasi at the moment looking pretty smooth, pretty comfy here, 88 revs per minute. And rider that we expect to go well, going up on to the climbs. Having ridden the Giro Donna, they've just seen the launching of the Giro d'Italia race route is from the RCS, who are the organisers of the Giro d'Italia. All of the main stage races now pretty much launching their race routes, which is really interesting to see. And Tour Down Under kicking off. The women's race has been brilliant so far. I've been watching that. Some great races, some great breakaways as well in the Tour Down Under in the women's stage race. Brilliant to see. Really exciting racing and incredible scenery to go through. They went up Willunga Hill.
Did they?
They did. Might sound familiar to some of our riders, funnily enough. Certainly sound familiar to anybody who's ridden out on in Australia. But, of course, you can go riding in Australia, one of the many, many worlds on MyWhoosh. Will you go as fast as our riders? Well, maybe you need to enter a race to find that one out. I'll tell you something, keeping up with Catherine Furr takes some doing, whether that is out on the road or in MyWhoosh. In the pain cave, Fur at the moment looking very cool, calm and collected at the moment. No problems at all, tapping along with this group, waiting for this group to explode. They're currently going over the climb that they just kicked over the top of, and I may have to find a rice paper hat to eat because I don't think anybody really went for that.
Oh, they didn't at all. I think, ding, ding, one wrong to Matt.
One hat down.
Catherine Furr right at the front of the pack at the moment. The Category 1 pack rolling steadily as they continue to move through. Big group at the moment, 49 kilometres an hour as they roll down the other side. Category 2, take a look at that. They are digging in at the moment because they are on the Alphaqir Hills. Big pack rolling, all pushing strong pace together. And you can see at the moment the push just coming on the front at the moment. But Kalman, Sarmiento, Eck, Denton, Stevens, Penna, Prado, all in here. Giovanni, Cassani, Kolkowitz as we roll towards the front. In fact, it's Gonzalez, Rua who was on the front, but quickly, because the pace is so constant across our riders here, it rolling through, and the front changing at the moment. It's Kolkowitz, Carolina Kolkowitz on our screen at the moment, gets up and out of the saddle and pushes on those pedals. She's right in the mix here. Pia Kuma is here as well. And this is such a strong group. Do you know, when we started talking about Category 2, when they came out the start pen, we said it was going to be really, really close racing. And take a look at this at the 14.6 kilometre marker, halfway through the Alphaqir Hills. It's like they are one rider.
Apart from the riders off the back. So I just noticed we have got 2 or 3 riders being detached. And I think that's the biggest thing here. If you're in it, you're in it. The moment you're out of it, you're in big trouble, because the pack is so closely matched, because it is so strong, because you can see that by the way that they're riding across the road. It's a densely packed race field. It really does mean that once you are off the bat, you are not in that group. You're not in that draft. You are really going to be in trouble because you haven't got a lot of room for maneuver here. Jermaine Prado is one of our super strong riders, multi-time champ from the Philippines. Prado sitting in this group, a really good rider, really strong rider. And I'll tell you something, somebody who, again, this course will suit because it's a real mix. She's good at the time trial, she's good on the road.
Yes, she's a great all-round racer.
Yeah, and you've got climbs, we've got sprints, we've got flat sections, we've got rolling terrain. All that plays into the hands of a great ruler.
Yes, and that is exactly what Jermaine Prado is.
Yeah, no disagreements there for a change from the commentary team.
Well, Tiffany Penna, part and parcel of the mix here. She rode really strongly last week, took that second place spot to Ulberg, and I think she's going to be targeting this too. But Dana Wagner is on some fabulous form as well, racing outdoors as well as in.
Yep, riding on the cyclocross and has, if I remember correctly, she's actually taken the national title.
No, she took second.
She took second.
She did.
In there. It's, I've seen so many cyclocross races over the last last however long. I can't remember them all.
She took
Unlike
second in her age
yeah.
category in the national champs, but she did indeed take the World Masters in her age category.
Thank you.
And she obviously had a cracking race there. She does say on her social media she had a few slips and slides in the national champs and didn't quite perform as she wanted, but Linda Sarmiento Martinez is performing strongly on her bike at the moment in her pain cave, part and parcel of this leading group. They've got one more short, sharp climb to go in this section through the Alphaqir Hills. They're on the descent at the moment. That's the climb coming ahead. You can see it just ahead of you. They'll be able to see it too. The stretch is now on the group because this is the last opportunity to lose one or two riders. It's also the opportunity to win the sprint competition, the climb segment. And that is what Tiffany Penner is aiming to do by pushing off the front. Who is pulling from the back? Who is going to take the segment? Who's going to take the polka dot skin suit? Well, Penner obviously wants it.
Penner should have that, surely, with that power. A kick is critical now. If she started at the back of the group, she would definitely have that. I think she did enough, though, even if she started on the front. It's looking good. Tiffany Penner using that strength, a lot of strength training. Penner is a real strong rider. Kicking from a lower speed requires more strength. It's more about power rather than necessarily spin speed. And that is what Penner did. She raced to her strengths there, really using that. The weight training she does really does a lot of that strength and conditioning, and that is played off for her. We're going to see if that plays off in category 1. I mean, they're coming into that same section.
They are indeed. So category 2 go out the other side of the Alphaqir Hills as category 1 go into the Alphaqir Hills. Mel Bruni leading them in across the bridge. 21 riders came out the other side in category 2 in the leading group.
That's a big group. That's a big group.
They've only dropped 6 riders from the start.
Not many, but we are starting to see that group split here now. We're just starting to see a couple of riders off the back of this pack. We're into these roller coasters. Remember, each and every time that the lead goes into a rise and the tail is on the descent, it will get closer in that chase, and then they go over the top. The gap will open up as the leaders pick up speed on the downhill. Having the strength, the speed, the power to kick over the top is absolutely critical. Otherwise, those gaps that have been open will be forced wide. Another rider's just starting to lose contact going over the top of roller number 2 here. And I think all of the big key names riders like Fur, like Guerra, like Filensky, Andres Filensky, in fact, who's gone off the back here by the look of it. So look at that. The sprint leader has gone off the back of this group on the climbing section, and that is going to do a damage in terms of that sprint when there are 3 sprint segments. We've done one of them, and the problem will be that if you're not in the main pack, you are not going to have as much draft and as much speed going in, and it's going to require a straight kick going in. So this could affect where the sprint title goes, but remember, our riders are after that big prize. They want to take away top spot in the race at the moment. Clearly not warm in the pain cave where Gabby Guerra is there. Either that or Nathan suffering like me from the cold still.
Well, I'll tell you
just
something.
In the background, putting the support in there.
Guerra's parcel of this pack. She's going to be targeting this race today, I think, and could well be the one to watch. I think it's going to be a close competition today. It's a punchy type of race, and Guerra is a really punchy type of rider. She's got some great kick on her and fabulous climbing ability. She's going to be right in the mix.
And she's been doing some long sessions, because I've seen her riding and then doing the coaching session that she's leading.
Yes.
Lots of great coaching session. But then, was I right in thinking that she came out, she did a pre-ride, she then did a coaching session, and then she joined your ride, which was about half an hour later.
And then she did another session afterwards.
And then she did no way.
She did indeed, but
Excellent.
It was fabulous. You know, so Gabby Guerra joining the live coaching team on MyWhoosh. You can jump in with Gabby throughout the week and join her live coaching sessions. And if you're really lucky, like I was, she might then join yours. But it's fabulous to have her as part and parcel of that coaching crew on MyWhoosh, and fabulous to have the riders on MyWhoosh and able to utilize that experience. Whilst you're riding on those live coaching sessions, there's nothing stopping you asking a question, because the coach is mic'd. They will answer it.
There is. It's called being able to type and complete the training session at the same time. It's not always easy.
Multitasking.
Yeah. Right, let's dive back into the racing, because I always believe that some of the best training is racing. Top right-hand side of yours, right side of your screen, at the top right-hand side of that, you can see by the gradient line, that's the white line, with the vertical yellow bar, that are the group in Category 5 at the moment on the climb. You can see Shalbar at the moment chasing Lloyd, chasing Vanilla, Joymet, and Salgado at the moment. It's about 6 seconds separating the top 6 riders, and they have to get this back together again. I think at the moment they're at 26.9k, and this means that they are coming on to the second part pretty soon. They're going to go over this. It drops down a little bit, then they kick again, and then they're going to climb up. The summit of this climb is at 28.8 kilometers, so plenty of distance still to climb, and that is to complete the second of our climb segments. Completing the first climbing segment, which is the Alphaqir Hills, that roller coaster sawtooth profile. This is Category 1, and I think this is going to be a kick from the group to try and take it from the back of the group. Bruni's gone off the front. Yeah. She's gone early here. This is a familiar finishing line, because this actually, the finish of this segment is almost exactly the same as the finish of the race. It's just a little bit further along the road, and that little bit of distance could well make the difference.
Fua's competing for it, so is Guerra. There's a big push here to see who takes the polka dot skin suit here. Guerra really pushing, big kick. The response there, and it is indeed Gabriela Guerra who takes the polka dot skin suit. She takes the climbing segment. Catherine Fua in 2, Mol Bruni in 3, Maria Holdcroft for Amelia Velf, Francesca Tomasi, Marlene Biarhead, Jacino Menendez, Celine Columbi, Kristen Kolczynski, Cornelia Engstrom, Stephanie Sidlick, Elise Gallegos, Amelia Van Hove, and Nelly Larson. 15 riders in the leading group in Category 1, top 15 through the Alphaqir Hills.
And behind that group of 15, we have our chasers still to make the way through. It shows you the distance that has been opened up. That climb segment with the multiple rises and drops, 5.5 minutes of racing out of today's race distance, a 47.8k race distance, of 566 meters of climbing overall. At the moment, the riders in Category 1, well, they've covered just over 17 kilometers. The riders in Category 2, 20k in, 25k for Category 3, Category 4 at 27k, and Category 6 are at, I think they're at 26.5, nearly 27k.
Well, just noticing a little bit of a gap on the back of this Category 1 pack. Stephanie Sidlick at 3 seconds. Going to need to be a bit of a push at the moment on the back of that group to bring it all back together again.
So Category 1 just fracturing as they go over the climbing segment number 1. This is climb segment number 2, and this is coming towards the top of climb segment number 2. We have finished this segment just as we rise up, and you can see that this course has a nasty little surprise at the end. This is like a little bit of a scorpion-style climb. It's got a sting in the tail, and that is going to affect the riders, because at the very end of this, it steepens as you come up towards the plateau. So you climb up, you've been doing those roller coasters, you've been adjusting your pace at the moment. Salgado still leading now from Bonilla, the polka dot skin suit wearer, the leader in the points competition, coming into close attention. 500 meters to go to the end of this segment. We have got a 45 degree left. We do a 90 right, a 45 left, and then we come into it. It's really hard to actually see where that segment ends as you come into the end of the climb segment. Going to be really critical. Meanwhile, Category 4, right-hand side, Nina Dowling is on fire today. She's opened up a gap to the rest of the group on this climb at the moment, and they're on that same segment of the climb. They are making the way up here. Dowling, De Grazia, Schultz, Wilhelm, Mongeli, et al. At the moment, chasing the leaders. And you can see on that radar view, they, I think, will come together pretty quickly. If not on here, they're going to do that after the face rock sprint and onto that uncategorized second part of the climb of this mountain.
Oh, I'll tell you something. The Category 4 pack are absolutely motoring up here. Schultz, Mongeli, and Downing on the right-hand side of your screen. But Bonilla and Salgado are fighting it out in Category 5. And they're fighting it out for that polka dot skin suit that's on the back of Bonilla at the moment as they come towards the top. Oh, there's a nasty little kick here as you come towards the top. And I'll tell you something, that's the polka dot banner signifying the end of the Vessel Rock climb. And they're side by side,
they were 1
Vanilla
and 2
and
in the
Salgado.
first segment.
Who is going to take this as Bonilla comes just over the top of Salgado? But I can tell you are waiting for the computer. Bonilla keeps it. And Bonilla keeps a polka dot skin suit. She sets the fastest time just up the climb.
They were 1 and 2. Bonilla and Salgado on the Alphaqir Hills. They've repeated those same positions on the Vessel Rock climb.
Look at the gap.
That, for me, is the critical thing here. These two riders have gone clear. They now need to make a decision and make this quickly. Do not hesitate. Either use it or lose it. That gap is there. You've got to either make the most of this or rest. One or the other. Do not sit riding yo-yo between the two. Make a decision and stick to it and do it quickly.
Well, I'll tell you something. Sarasu, Mayer, Lloyd, Scholbois and Hopkins have all now come over the top of the Vessel Rock climb. That's the leading 7 in total in that Category 5 race. The question is, will the 5 chasers form a group and start to work to bring the group back, or will the continued climbing after the Vessel Rock climb ensure that Bonilla and Salgado go away?
So Idzik with the polka dot jersey looking to make it 2 out of 2 here. She took it from Dowling last time. She sprints through here. She's going to take it from Dowling again. So the 1-2 in the Alphaqir Hills. The 1-2 here as well. That will confirm the win for Idzik, subject to verification.
Look at the effort
in
that
the climb
to do that.
You can see how hard Natalia Idzik wanted that, how much she wanted to say that, how much effort she was prepared to put in. The gap behind again has opened, but it's only 2 or 3 seconds now.
I'll tell you something, her heart rate is dropping now. It was so close to 200 with that effort. That was a phenomenal max effort from Natalia Idzik to take that polka dot skin suit as she starts to rejoin the group on the flatlands at the top.
And that effort, 2 wins in the climb in segments in Category 4, plus she's also taken the overall by winning both of those. It's not a bad little payday in Category 4.
No, 400 AED.
That's each segment plus the overall.
Each segment plus the overall, or just over €100.
Very nice.
Because she's Polish.
Indeed. Is it not zloty in Poland?
Oh, well, euros is, yeah.
I'm
well, it's the closest I can do.
Please forgive me if the currency is not zloty anymore, or that's a totally different country, but that was totally off the top of my head, so it could have come from some very dodgy, still frozen part of my brain. Right, okay, heading out on to the course a little bit further back, 20k covered for Category 1. This is the Category 1 leading group. There are riders fractured behind and distance from this group. You can see that behind them, that distance is a fair gap back. We're talking 1 minute and 3 back to Alberg, to Duin and Koso. Fair old gap behind. It's pretty secure, this group. However, what they do now is going to be critical. 21k. They have got 3k to take it relatively steady, which is what they're doing at 35 kilometers an hour. Not taking it steady, Category 2. They're coming in to the Vessel Rock climb. In Category 2, quick reminder for you, the polka dot skin suit on Tiffany Penner. Sophie Giovanni was second. She scored 4 points already. Jeniak was third. Pia Kuma was fourth. Anna Svarström was fifth last time out. They are your point scorers so far in the points competition for the Queen of the Mountains competition. You can call yourself a king or a queen, I don't care. Oh, pregnant pause there, Emma. You don't know what to say, do you? You just lost
letting
in the world.
that hang.
Let it hang. I don't care what people
well,
call
I'll tell you
themselves.
something.
You are the fastest rider up the climb.
I'll tell you something. Whilst we're in with Category 3, on the right-hand side of the screen, I can tell you that in the Category 6 competition, Driscoll and Connell are still together.
Oy,
so
excellent.
that is going to be a good battle between Helen Connell and Birdie and Driscoll in the Category 6 race. So great to see. But the leaders in the Category 3 race sweep past them at the moment. They've caught them, and it's a big group of Category 3 riders who come past them.
I know, look
at it. It's brilliant. I tell you, it is really, really close. They're coming towards the 30-kilometre marker, and that Category 3 leading group is strong.
It's strong in Category 3 at the moment.
I got 15 riders in that leading group.
Wow.
Shall I give you? Let me give you who they are. So Embring, Van der Vie, Vasquez, Lenin and Montgomery, Rammer, Daniels, Kittel, Essler, Hadlock, Bonilla, Bergin, Bulwara, Goodall and Walkenhurst, all in that leading group.
Wow, that is a who's who, just in with Angel and Hadlock at the moment. Angel with that fantastic core bike up on the side, regularly riding for core, out on the roads on Hadari Island and out and around the UAE. Been putting in some great race performances, some great rides actually coming out from the UAE at the moment. There's some real women moving forward race rides going out onto the big climbs as well. So going to be interesting to see how Hadlock goes today. Definitely been getting in the kilometres. Will she be able to take victory? You can never discount her on a tough course, that is for sure.
Well, they're working their way through the Category 4 race field as well, and there's an opportunity now for that Category 4 riders to take a bit of a tow and to work their way up to the leading group, because the leading group here, Schultz is currently leading the Category 4 race. She's in the green skin suit, so don't forget she's Category 4. She's going through the Face Rock Sprint. So that's at the top of the climb after the Vassal Rock climb. So Schultz, Mongelli, Downing, Chew and De Grazia, all part and parcel of that leading group. So Schultz, Downing, Mongelli, De Grazia, Chew, Idzik and Wilhelm. 7 riders through that segment at the moment from Category 4 in that leading group.
So that's 2 out of 2 for Schultz. She's got 10 points now. She can't be beaten in the competition. She needs to just get through to the finishing line to ensure she takes away the win in the sprints overall. But what she needs to do is make sure she maximizes points in that last one. I can't imagine anybody is going to beat her now. It should be hers for the taking. Idzik sitting there in the polka dot skin suit, but this group also need to think about how much effort they're putting into these segments. When we go through this face rock sprint, we still have climbing to go, and that is going to be critical for the riders as we move forward. So Category 4 at the moment, through the face rock sprint, out the other side of 32 kilometers, they will continue to ascend, and then we have that long drop down heading into towards the Siamese Rock Sprint, and then that final climb. Lots more races to come here on MyWhoosh on Qualifier race at number 3 with me, Matt Payne, and Emma Martin. We're going to be bringing you all the race action here in Qualifier 3 in the women's race, and of course in the men's race that comes after this. Both men and women on the same race route. 6 groups setting off in each of our races. In purple, it is our Category 6. In the light blue, it is Category 5. In the red, Category 4. In the blue, Category 3. In green, Category 2. And in yellow, Category 1. Emily's pulling faces at me from the side, not because I got the colours wrong. I got them right.
Just realised my cup of tea has gone cold.
That's too much talking. That's just normal risk of the job, isn't it? Let's face it. I think my coffee is also the same, so we'll be heading into our cold coffees. Hydration is important. We joke about this quite a lot, that we hydrate on coffee and tea, but hydration really critical. Putting down sprints that we're seeing like this require a huge amount of energy. You're heating up. You're putting the fire down. You're really kicking your way in through. Anna Embring goes through. She kicks her way through there. She's looking to take points here, but look at this. It's going to be Leinonen who takes away the sprint jersey at the moment as they've come through that sprint segment at 32 kilometers. So really interesting to see that Vessel Rock climb followed by the Face Rock sprint. That combination of sprints really, really telling. And Leinonen taking second fastest time, but having the most points overall in that Category 3 competition.
But Anna Embring winning the Face Rock Sprint in the Category 3 race. I can tell you now, though, just to confirm, there are 12 riders still in this leading group at 32.4 kilometres into this Category 3 race. So Rona May Joy Mare on your screens at the moment. She's part and parcel of this chase group in the Category 5 race. And I say chase group because there's a group of 4 riders up the road. So Mare and Charlebois, the 2 riders on your screen in light blue, tapping away a nice rhythm at the moment, just on the climb. They're about 15 seconds back from the leading group in Category 5. Really good to see these riders working together and pushing on here. They need to just keep the rhythm going. They need to not worry about the group that are down the road. Let the group that are down the road do their own thing. In fact, they're backing off at the moment, which is meaning actually that the gap is coming down. So it's now at around 9 seconds. If Mare and Charlebois can work together, they can get back. Behind them, you can see the pack of red. That is the 7 riders in the leading group in the Category 4 race. They're at 9 seconds. And what could well work for Charlebois and Mare, depending upon when they are caught, is whether they can make the most of that draft. But take a look on the top right-hand corner of your screen. It's a flat section, it's a depression, and then it's a climb. Could be instrumental as to whether those Category 5 riders can benefit.
It is, and this is going to be really, really key here, because making the catch at the right time. If you're in that leading, in the chase group there, I'll be easing off a little bit more just to make sure you get the maximum benefit of this group, because when these riders hit that climbing segment, you can see that top right-hand side of your screen there, the Category 4 riders like Doreen Chu are going to be able to kick up that climb and potentially distance very quickly the riders in Category 5. And I think for me, that means that the Category 5 riders are not going to get the most benefit here from this group, because they're going to come into the climb, and on the climb that draft benefit goes because the speed drops right down.
Realistically, you want to get caught at the top of that climb. But Doreen Chu, can I just go back to an early comment? Yes. Doreen Chu is currently leading at the front of the pack in the Category 4 race. I told you she'd be there or thereabouts, and she is indeed. So Chu Dowling, got to take every moment when I can get it. Chu, Wilhelm, Mongeli, Downing, Idzik, all part and parcel of this group, and all rolling really strongly at the moment. 34.8 kilometres now under their wheels.
Now, one of the riders that I'm going to tip for, I thought you can tip Chu, I'm going to tip Gonzalez Ruhr for today's win. One of our really strong riders, and I think really interesting here. I think she's got her eyes on the big prize at the end of the race. Not looking to me like she was going into that segment with a view to taking that necessarily. She hadn't dropped totally to the back of the group, keeping an eye on the front, not wanting to let those gaps go. She's got Penna currently at 2 seconds up the road in that polka dot skin suit, and they are closing down on Penna. Penna kicking over the 29-kilometre marker, taking away maximum points on the Vessel Rock climb there, and secure in that polka dot skin suit. Ruhr has got her eyes at the end of this 47.8k race. Do not bet against her, particularly putting in an attack. For me, as we go out of the Face Rock Sprint and into that climbing section where we can see at the moment, you can see Category 4 are coming up onto the leaders on the road, onto the leaders in Category 5, and the Category 4 bunch are coming. They have got some of the Category 5 riders trying to stay on their heels, but at the moment, the climbing power of Idzik, of Dowling, those 2 riders who've been fighting out at the front of Category 4 in the climbs competition, really starting to put the power down. Gina Di Grazia holding those wheels. They're going to come up on Salgado, on Bonilla, and on Sarasu at the moment, and this is going to be really, really key. Can the Category 5 riders stay with Category 4 here into the descent? If they can, they're going to make lots of time.
Well, they are indeed, but this is a big, big ask. But the gradient is now starting to drop. Still at 8%, but it's not 12. Yeah. And I'll tell you something, you do really notice it when it does start to drop. It's very, very shortly. They're going to go over the top. This is one last dig, one last push. Nina Dowling on the front of the group in Category 4, but Bonilla, Sarasu, and Salgado from Category 5 are hanging in there at the moment. moment, and this is doing the business for them. De Gracia and Schultz from category 4. Wilhelm is there as well. This is going to be interesting.
Needs to push. He really does. This is so key. This moment here, this is key moment, isn't it, Emma? Going over the top here.
It is indeed, and Dowling goes over the top with De Gracia and Wilhelm and Schultz. Chu is there as well, so the top 5 riders all in category 4. Idzik closes down the gap. She's category 4 as well. The question is, what are those leaders in category 5 going to do, and can they stay in the group?
6 riders in category 4. There was it not 7 coming into this climb? Is there not one rider currently detached off the back of this group? Because we've got Idzik in here, we've got De Gracia in here. They're holding at the back here.
Yes, Mongelli.
There we go, Mongelli. One rider just being it's that climb, isn't it? Just coming together as a group. The leaders get a little bit of draft. It's not a lot, but it seems to have made a difference here. It could be telling for the category 4 riders. Mongelli has to work. She has to get back, and all this is costing effort. All this is going to be burning into those reserves. This is a long race. It's a big climbing race, 566 meters. This is really, really key. Do not burn too much energy, but we do have recovery, because the next real big climb is that finishing climb for these riders. There's some bumps in the middle, though, isn't there?
There are some bumps in the middle, and I tell you something, those bumps in the middle are the bits that take it out of your legs, because there's getting the rhythm and settling into a rhythm on a climb, and there is constantly changing bumps, which mean you have to push hard, back off, push hard, back off, and it really does take it out of your legs.
Constantly changing bumps, is that like rolling flat bumpy section? So a CCB
No,
section.
it's constantly changing bumps.
CCB section. There we go. Right. In with category 3, we have Hadlock, Montgomery, and Embry on our screens on the left-hand side. We have got the team on the right. There was almost a smile from Hadlock there.
No, it wasn't. It's a grimace.
I tell you something, that was a big, big effort up that climb. That was a critical moment as they come up and through over the top. This is a long plateau section, though, and this gives that chance for recovery. If you can make it back, that is going to be really, really key. We're just seeing Pekarova just off the front here in category 4 has gone over the top, 6 seconds up the road. She has got a little bit of a gap by pushing over the top there, but this group, I think, is all going to come together on that downhill section. This is going to make a big group of category 5 and category 4 and category 3 riders potentially.
Well, I'll tell you something. Last time we did a numbers check in category 3, we had 15 riders in that leading group. We've got a couple off the back. Off the front at the moment, though, going through the Vessel Rock climb in the category 1 races, Gabriela Guerra, Catherine Fua, Jacinia Menendez, Celine Columbi, and Maria Holdcroft are all within 4 seconds. Look at the pack hunting her down behind. She wanted to keep that polka dot skin suit, and she has, setting the fastest time up the climb. Guerra in 1, Fua in 2, Menendez, Holdcroft, Columbi, Biarhead, Velt, Tomasi, Bruni, Kulczynski, and Van Hove all going through. So 11 riders in the category 1 race, all still together.
So 11 riders, Gabby Guerra leading them through, taking away the win on that section in the Vessel Rock. She took the win on the Alphaqir Hills. She'll take away maximum points and take away the overall. So Gabby Guerra, 2 wins on the segments, in the climbing segments, plus the overall on the climbing segment. As we move up through our categories, the prize money increases from 6 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, which is the most prize money going.
Well, just taking a little look, Van Hove off the back of the group by 6 seconds. So that makes 10 riders still in this leading group after they have gone through the Vessel Rock climb. Fua, Guerra, Columbi, and Menendez, the 4 riders on your screen, all part of this leading category 1 race. They are through both categorized climbing segments. That does not mean all the climbing is over.
No, definitely not. Just interesting to see Gabby Guerra there, finishing a bottle, throwing it to one side, picks the next bottle up, moves it across. Preparation for these riders, absolutely critical. Last thing you want to do is run out of fuel, run out of water, run out of hydration. A small percentage drop in hydration is a massive performance drop. Really, really critical. It's one of the biggest problems you can have. Run out of fluids. I think it's 2% fluid loss. 2% dehydration is a 20% performance loss.
Well,
Those
it
are the kind of
is
numbers.
something you really need to look after. Husbandry is the word I like to think of. Looking after yourself.
Okay. On that note, I'm going to go grab a coffee.
Okay, well, you carry on and do that while I take a look at the racing, because that's where my focus is. So it's all right. I'm just looking up the word husbandry so that I can give you a proper definition. It says husbandry is the practice of raising plants, animals, or food, or the management of resources. It is the management of your own resources. That's my definition of it. And you need to be very careful with your husbandry and looking after yourself.
There we go, back from my coffee. Dictionary according to Emma. Thank you very much, Emma. As we make our way around the course, Professor Emma Martin on the other side of the screen and the other side of the studio, bring you this. Don't forget, you can jump on board with Emma at biking_Emma on Instagram. Me, it's at Matt Fixer Paint on Instagram. Don't forget to give us a follow at Full Speed. Let's see what we're up to, covering commentary out and around, covering lots of different sports. But, of course, we are always here one way or another between us at the Sunday race with the amazing team behind the scenes. Make sure you give at MyWhoosh a follow on Instagram and on Facebook. It's my_whoosh on X on that platform. And of course, we want you to download the app, get on board and ride. Come and join us. It is really simple to do so. Go to mywhoosh.com. You can download the game. You can download MyWhoosh on iOS, on Android, on Windows. You can download the HD version. If you want the all singing, all dancing version, you can download the standard version for the fastest and quick race gaming version, with a little bit less on the graphics, but a whole lot more straightforward. If you want that reliability, that extra reliability, that extra fail-safe in there. Don't forget, of course, that you can do so on your Apple iPads and all sorts of different devices. Apple TV is there, but we would love you to jump on board and ride. Now, our riders in Category 1 coming in to their next sprint. All this time, racing and riding is going to be key. Prizes, money at stake for the fastest time through the segment sprint coming from the back of the group there. You could just see the acceleration up and through. And at the moment, it's Merle Bruni who's going to be leading this out.
Holcroft's going too.
Holcroft came from the back of that group, and that is going to be really key here. I think she's going to take the fastest time through there. Will that be the case? We wait for those results to come up and through. Here they come. I think it is going to be Holcroft. Oh, look at that. Holcroft goes into the third fastest. Now, she'll get the prize for the fastest in Category
1.
But interestingly, because of the pace they came in there, that was a kick from very low speed.
Yes.
And coming through 0.332 of a second, third of a second slower than Anna Svalstrom in Category 2. So it shows you just how strong Svalstrom's pace was.
And that Category 2 pack was at 21 riders when Svalstrom went through.
And Category 1 are at 11 riders last time. 10 riders, sorry, last time we saw. So it shows you that difference in pace, the speed that you go in, the speed that it takes in. Critical key, though, is taking the fastest in your segment. Well, and Maria Holcroft's got the skin suit as well.
She has, but can I tell you something? Bridget Felensky from Category 1, who has taken the other sprints, the earlier sprints, has not come through that sprint segment yet because she is behind this leading group.
We shall have to see how that unfolds. If Maria Holcroft suddenly loses that skin suit, it will show that Embring was able to take that. And it could be that Embring is just easing on the climb on the way up through. We'll see what happens.
Well, as Holdcroft, Tomasi, Menenzes and Velt all ride on the descent at the moment at 32.8 kilometres in the leading group in Category 1. They're starting to work their way towards the final climb of the day. And that final climb coming to the finish line at 47.8 kilometres. That's the finish line today. And you can see the Category 2. Oh, the call coming from Giovanni and Gonzalez Rua to work together. They've got a 2-second gap at the moment on the chasing group in Category 2. And the big chasing group at the moment, not want these two riders want to be with. So Giovanni and Prado, Gonzalez, Rua at the front, but every now and then one more rider just comes across the gap. I think this group are all going to come together, and that call to work, well, it's not doing the business.
It's not opened up the gate because you've got Pia Kuma, who's just coming on behind. She was chasing hard. She was just off the back of the route. She was going to make it back in, I think. I think you're right. I think that group's going to come back together. It's such a long downhill descent that you've got to work really hard on that long flat section to get that gap before the downhill. Now, a little bit further up on the road from the riders on the left of your screen, on the right-hand side of your screen, this is category 4. The leaders on the road at 42.5k, and they are in those bumpy sections on the CCB section as you come in and through. This is going to be really critical. They have got a gap at the moment. Wilhelm, Chu, and Dowling have a 7-second gap on the leading 3. So the leading 3 are clear. Wilhelm, Chu, Dowling leading 7 seconds back. Schultz, de Grazia in 4th and 5th place. At the moment, big news, Natalia Idzik, who has got the climb jersey and has been climbing everybody off her wheels at 19 seconds, and she has to make that back on the climb, which comes up 47k. She's got a long way to go, and she's hemorrhaging time.
Well, we saw her, didn't we, put that massive kick in to ensure she stayed in that polka dot leaders jersey, and she topped her heart rate at 198 beats per minute. You know, you just can't keep doing that and maintain throughout the rest of the race, and I think she's paying for that effort. She's paying for burning that match, but Idzik at the moment, each effort is going to be making her stronger, but she's currently lying in 6th place overall in that category 4 race at the moment, 11 seconds back on de Grazia and Schultz, who are behind the leading 3. So 3 riders leading the category 4 race, 2 riders chasing, and then Idzik.
And remember, of course, that in 2024 and before, we were on 5 riders for the prices, so it would have been out of the overall prices. Now we are on 10 riders in 2025. That means she's still in the overall prize fund, as well as taking away the polka dot, the climbing prizes too. Now let's dive in with category 3 here. You can see at the moment, Leah Sophie Rama is the rider leading them up this time. Hadlock holding the wheels here. Embring with the polka dot skid suit as well. Daniels, Vasquez, Esler, and Bonil all in this group. This is a really interesting section. This is that bumpy section, the quick climbs, the little rises and falls between the big mountain where the Vessel Rock climb and the Face Rock sprint were, and the final climb of the day. Now, big group moving fast up the climb, but then easing back off again. Leah Sophie Ramat, the rider there on the left of your screen. The sun coming down underneath the blinds at the moment, so going to be getting plenty of that vitamin D, making sure that she can keep nice and warm as well, which is always key as she continues to move on through. Going to be really interesting to see what this group does.
I think there's 10 riders in there.
Tactically, with 10 riders, you're not going to break this now until you hit that final climb, are you?
This is the climb. They're not. This is now, pretty much set until they get to the final climb of the day.
Alia jecta est. The die is cast.
Well, there we go. But I'll tell you something, it's a good group and they're rolling really strongly at the moment and continuing to motor. They're coming up for 4 kilometres to go in this race. But that is 4 kilometres, of which 2.7 are up. But I can tell you that the category 4 riders, the head of the race, have gone up over the Siamese Rock sprint now, and so are coming in to the base of the climb.
So coming into the base of the climb of category 4, our leaders on the road. Category 1, the last group of leaders to leave the start pens, just coming over the very final part of this climb at the Central Mountain section here. The CMS, Central Mountain section, which takes them up and through, and then they're going to be onto this big descent. This is a big group of category 1 as well.
Well, we had
at the
10.
moment. Yeah,
I think we may
huge.
have 8 or 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we might still have 10.
Emma's doing some quick counting. I think one of the key differences here,
I think we've got 9,
is that when we are really noticing the difference between when we have our world champion in here and when we don't, because Mary Kate McCarthy would have pulled clear. I think with 1 or 2 of these riders would have gone with her. I think she would have attacked on this and climbed. I really look forward to seeing what happens when we come back. Without her, I think the rest of these riders now think, hang on a minute, this has really changed the dynamic. And it really has made riders think about how they race this. And it may well be that they're saving their energy for that very last climb, whereas before they were having to answer attacks that would have come in. If McCarthy was here, the world champion, she's such an aggressive rider, she would have gone for it and potentially pulled 1 or 2 riders clear. It would have changed that dynamic.
But I'm also going to caveat this with, I think we've also seen a change in the dynamic since some of the climbs have been segments and segments with prizes. So I think there's multiple factors at play. And at the moment, this is the head of the race. This is category 4. They have worked their way through category 5 and category 6 on the road. And Doreen Chu and Nina Dowling are absolutely working strongly. They're on the final climb. They've got 2.5 kilometres to go, and Chu, Dowling, Wilhelm are the 3 riders leading this category 4 race. Schultz is now at 7 seconds, Gina de Grazia at 12 seconds, and Natalia Idzik, well, she's at 33 seconds behind. So really, for me, this is now a race between Chu, Dowling and Wilhelm.
So Wilhelm with the black bandana on the left of that screen with the category 4 riders on there. Leading them out is Chu, both Chu and Dowling with white helmets on, both with a very similar kit on as well. So just makes things just a little bit trickier to spot as they go up here. But Wilhelm, a little bit easier to identify as these riders continue to push towards the top of the climb. They're leading the race at the moment overall. They're leading on the road. They are at 45.6k, but coming quickly behind are category 3. They're at 45.4. They are basically 250 meters behind the leaders on the road. Daniels, Van der Vliet, Vasquez, Embring, Kittel and Co. chasing. It's still a big group, and this group are moving at speed. They're running out of road to break this group up. They need to get a wriggle on. They've got just about 2k to go, and they have not broken the group. You've got to make your move at some point. You don't want to leave this to the last few hundred meters, surely.
Well, it's really interesting, isn't it? Because we've got a couple of riders off the back of this category 3 group now, and you can see them just on that bottom left-hand corner of your screen. But this main group, Van der Veer, Embring, Vasquez, Kittel, Daniels, Esler, all at the front of the group now, working their way into the top 10 overall on the road. Bonilla, Lennon and Rammer are all there. So the riders dropped off the group. Well, I think it's Bulwara, Bergin, et al. Those riders have been dropped off the back of this group, but they are continuing to push now, well and truly ensconced into the top 10 on the road.
2 groups in category 3 split now on the road, separated by 100 meters or so as the leaders in category 3 continue to push. Only 5 riders left in front. They caught back Idzik, who is in 6th. They've got de Grazia, Schultz, Wilhelm and Chu all up the road. They've got to try and pull them back, I think, just because they need to keep the pressure on and stop the chasing group behind. There's some strong names in that second group on the road. They cannot afford for them to come back to them. They want to keep on pushing, and at the moment, this is going to be key. Van der Vliet at the moment out of the saddle, kicking down hard here, wanting to keep that gap. Embring in the polka dot skin suit with that red helmet on, chasing at the moment. Vasquez having to dig into the red to go with them. It's a steep section of this climb. It's at 5.8% as they come up now, 5.9%. They're continuing to push, and they are starting to break this group again. It had dropped riders into a discrete group at the back. We're now seeing rider after rider getting onto the limit, onto the red, and really having to hold those wheels. They're chasing. Will they get back to the leaders? They can see them in front. It's 25 seconds from the group that we're with at the moment to Chu as we make our way up here. Schultz, the category 4 sprint winner. well, she's going to make it into the finish inside. I think the top 5 here in category 4 in the red jerseys, in category 3 in the blue jerseys. Van der Vliet with Embring, with Vasquez have opened up a gap 3 seconds back to Kittle, 6 to Daniels. Bonilla's further back still. If they keep pushing, they could take this to the line, but we have got 1.5 kilometers to go.
Well, it's an interesting race at the moment at the front in category 4 because Chu and Wilhelm are battling it out on the climb. Wilhelm took 2nd last week. Chu took 5th. Who's going to come out on top in that race today? But Anna Embring, well, she's part and parcel of the battle for the win in category 3, and she's up and out the saddle and climbing on that bike in her pain cave with the window open and the fresh air coming in. She's wearing the polka dot skin suit behind Femke van der Vie, who's the rider she is chasing at the moment, and these two are doing battle on the final steps of this climb today. They've got 1.2 kilometers left to go in the Sunday race. Vasquez is coming from behind. Manuela Vasquez is not out of this race yet either.
This is going to come down to this final kilometre. We are at 1 kilometre to go for our category 4 riders, for our category 3 riders. But you can see Doreen Chu here really continuing to rip this up as Van der Vliet comes past. So Van der Vliet now leading the race. Chu in 2nd place, Dowling in 3rd, but Chu and Dowling leading in that category 4 competition. They'll want to take away top spot. Will Chu be able to do this? She needs to stay cool, calm and collected. Time is running out though for the riders chasing Van der Vliet, who has opened a 5-second gap to her nearest competitor in the category 3 race, which is Anna Embring in the white polka dot skin suit behind. We are at 47.2k. She's got to hold this for 550 meters more. This is going to be absolutely painful, painstaking work by her. Her lungs and legs will be on fire, and she needs that banner to come, because if Embring can pull her back, she will. But at the moment, that pink Colnago, Emma's currently got bike envy of Van der Vliet. I'll tell you now, as she looks on, she's got leg and lung envy as well, because Van der Vliet put in a phenomenal performance, but Embring continues to try and bring her back. The time is running out. 400 meters to go. It's 7 seconds now.
Well, I tell you something, they're going to reverse the results of last week, because Embring took 1st place last week. Van der Vliet took 2nd. Van der Vliet at the moment in 1. Embring at 7 seconds. They have not got far to go. That's the finish line. You can see the UCI banner ahead. Femke van der Vliet is the rider in category 3. She's going to come over the line for the win today. She's going to be the first rider over the line on the Sunday Race Club. She's going to take the win in category 3. It's been a superb race, and Femke van der Vliet comes over the line, your winner in category 3.
What a great ride by Van der Vliet there. I mean, just fantastic to hold off a rider of the strength of Anna Embring on that climb in the run into the finish. Embring taking 2nd place in category 3. It's going to be a fine 3rd place for Manuela Vasquez as she goes over. And Doreen Chu is going to take victory in category 4. So Doreen Chu takes away the win from Nina Dowling. Emma called it right, much as I hate to say it, behind Eva Essler goes in over the line just ahead of Kim Bonilla as these riders come through thick and fast. Now, we're going to just drop back a little bit further down the climb at the moment to category 2.
Well, category 2 are working their way up the climb. So Giovanni, Wagner, Prado, Kalman, Gonzalez, Rua are all in the mix. Just as a quick side note, we were talking about the Face Rock sprint, and the fact that Holdcroft took the sprint in the leading group in category 1. I can confirm that Bridget Filensky, who is not in the leading group in category 1, has just taken the sprint from Holdcroft.
the fact that that sprint was a slower sprint for Category 1 did not help Holcroft, because we saw that time that she had put in had been beaten by riders in categories, I think it was 4 and 5 going through, or 3 and 4 going through. And that really was telling, because it left the door open for Filensky. Now, back down into the racing as Category 5 make the way in here. And it looks to me like it's going to be Angie Rowe, Benilla at the front of the race being chased by Salgado here all the way to the line. It's only 2 seconds between them. And they're flicking back and forth, because I think it's going to be Benilla who's going to take this. Angie Rowe Benilla is going to take away the win in Category 5 in qualifier race number 3. Great ride by Benilla. She's going to add the overall to her polka dot skin suit, and that means great payday for her. Salgado comes through in second place, fighting all the way to the line. A great battle between these two. Can't wait to see them riding next week. Well, see how this story continues.
Well, I'll tell you, Nikki Lloyd looks like she's going to come through for third place in that race as well. So brilliant racing across all of our categories today. Giovanni is at the head of this Category 2 race, though. They're at 45.8 kilometres into the race. They're well and truly on the final climb. They've got 2 kilometres to go, and she started to pull clear of the chase group. Well, that chase group, Joanna Kalman, Tiffany Penner, Carolina Kolkowitz, German Prado, all at 2 seconds at the moment. What can Giovanni do, and can she move clear of this group? Big ask.
Yeah, that was exactly what just ran through my head. It's a big ask given the distance to the finish. 1.8k to go to the finish. 1,800 meters, 900 bike lengths to the finishing line. Don't ask me in pedal revs. As they go up this climb, it's going to be really, really key. You start a bit like you know, people say when they climb Everest, you'll have that. You do 10 steps, you take a pause, you do another 10 steps, but it disappears. You get to the top. Here, it's going to feel like climbing Everest, because it's uphill all the way to the finish. And setting a small target is not enough here, because the riders behind have strength in depth. There's enough riders to take it in turns to chase down. At the moment, it's Penner who is chasing Giovanni at the moment, but the gap is at 4 seconds. I don't think it's going to stay that way for long. You've now got Kolkowitz goes over the top, and Kalman goes. Penner drops in onto the wheels. Wagner is not far behind either. There's a train of riders trying to close the gap down. Really great riding up on the front at the moment in Category 2. This battle is going to go all the way, I think, down to the line. Sophie Giovanni has to keep putting the power down. If this group come back to her, there's a limited amount of recovery time before she kicks again. Surely this is her race-winning move if she can take it to the line. Everybody working hard, everybody on the limit. Everybody knows that they have got an uphill run to the finish. So I've seen those riders coming in front. Now, most of the riders with the live feed going, as well as their race screen, to be able to get a preview of what's coming up on their race. Getting that information really, really key. Thank you, everybody who's watching, particularly our riders who are doing so live. German Prado at the moment, chasing Kolkowitz, Kalman, Penner, and Giovanni inside the top 10. Who's going to take away the win? I think it's anybody's guess from this leading group. You cannot discount anybody.
Well, you can't. They've got 1,000 meters to go. That is all they have. It's all uphill to the finish line, but Giovanni at the moment is now at 5 seconds. Kalman, Kolkowitz, Penner are all together. So Giovanni in 1, Kalman, Kolkowitz, and Penner, 3 riders chasing, tied together. Prado just starting to get dropped from that group. Dana Wagner is a little bit back further down the climb, but Giovanni is doing a phenomenal job at the moment. The Italian rider really climbing strongly. She's got 800 meters to go. The gap is there at 6 seconds. The chase is on, I tell you, because Penner is coming. Penner is working, but so is Kalman. Kalman and Kolkowitz, take a look at this. These are the riders in the mix at the moment. Absolutely dialing it. What can Kalman do? Can Kalman bring back Giovanni? Giovanni is now at 5 seconds. Kolkowitz digs. Kolkowitz kicks. Can she do it? The banner is going to come very, very soon. There's 500 meters to go. Kolkowitz and Kalman are working strongly. Kolkowitz is trying to close the gap. She's got her to 3 seconds at the moment. Penner is coming as well. This is phenomenal racing from these riders as they come towards the banner. They've got 350 metres to go. Kalman, Kolkowitz, Penner, Giovanni. The gap is now 1 second to Tiffany Penner as Penner comes up and over the top of Giovanni. Tiffany Penner has made the move. What can Giovanni do? Can Penner hold it? It's not a finished move yet.
Sophie Giovanni digs into the red here, trying to respond to Penner. Penner went over the top and she opened the gap. Giovanni down 1,000 deaths out there as Penner came over the top. She's now got 6 watts per kilo. Giovanni's not going to have an answer to this. Tiffany Penner, perfection in timing. Tiffany Penner takes away the win, takes the overall, takes away the polka dot skin suit as well. The climbs and the overall going to Penner. Sophie Giovanni, an amazing ride by her to hold off the riders behind for so long. It's going to come through to take 2nd place, and I think it's going to be Karolina Kolkowitz who takes away 3rd. Joanna Kalman in 4th. Dana Vogler taking away 5th place, and it's going to be German Prado taking 6th with Gonzalez Rua taking 7th.
Yeah, it is indeed. And what a finish to the Category 2 race. And we'll drop back in with Category 1. They've got 1.4 kilometres to go, and take a look at the size of the group. Holdcroft, Menendez, Fua, Bruni and Colombi. My question is, where's Guerra? I think she's up the road.
I would agree entirely with that. I can see one solitary
there
yellow dot up the road. It's Gabby Guerra in the polka dot skin suit. She has gone clear at the moment, and behind they are scrambling. Fua, Bruni, Colombi need to get this back, but 15 seconds. We have seen gaps of 5 seconds overhaul. We've seen gaps of 6. Will we see a gap of 15? That is a big, big ask with so little distance left. We are coming up towards 1 kilometre to go. Gabby Guerra in the lead after riding smart, taking away the wins in those climbing segments, taking away the climbing competition overall. Now looking to add the win at the finishing line to that haul of great prizes here on MyWhoosh. Can Guerra do it? Behind, that's not just 2. That's not just 3 riders. This is 5 riders coming. And I tell you something, they are going to come at speed. But Guerra at the moment is hovering round about the 20-second marker. She's out of the saddle here. Has all that training, all that coaching on MyWhoosh. I tell you something, she can walk the walk. She can talk the talk. But she can ride the ride because she's doing a ride here today. This is a phenomenal performance by Guerra. Can she hold it to the line? Surely she can. Who's going to take away the places behind? That group are still together chasing, but Guerra soloing away at the moment.
It's a huge kick from Gabby Guerra as she heads towards the line. She's got 550 metres to go. She's clear of the chase group by 23 seconds at the moment. Superb effort. The look of concentration on her face in the pain cave at the moment as she's tapping a strong, strong rhythm on that bike. Guerra in the polka dot skin suit, signifying the leader in the climbing competition. She's showing everybody else how the race is done. As we can see, Guerra kick and move. Fua, Bruni are all chasing, but they're chasing Gabby Guerra at the moment. She is going to see the UCI banner. It is just around the bend. There it is. Guerra has climbed and shown her prowess in the climbing, moving away from the chasing group in the Category 1 race today. 1 hour, 17 minutes of racing. That's the UCI banner, and Gabby Guerra is going to go underneath it and take the win today in the Category 1 race.
Qualifier race number 3. Gabby Guerra takes away the win in that Category 1, takes the polka dot skin suit, adds the yellow skin suit to her title. Behind, this is the run for the line. You can see everybody working hard to get in, and it's Fua at the moment who's at the front of that to run for the line for 2nd place. She's out the saddle in real life. She sprints over the line, taking 2nd. It's going to be Menendez in 3rd, Colombi in 4th, Bruni in 5th, Holcroft, I think, is likely to be our 6th place rider. Tomasi coming behind as well. They are through in the blink of an eye. What a race finish. The Category 1 riders together. They could do nothing about Guerra as Francesca Tomasi adds another top 10 finish to her race day here today.
That was absolutely superb racing as we're watching Tomasi and Bjarhed come across the line. Amelia Velt is there as well. Van Hove not far behind. And Kristen Kulczynski, well, she's only a small handful of seconds further back. That was just superb racing in all of our categories today as we watch Kristen Kulczynski come over the line on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, just picking up the pace and just coming through underneath the UCI banner. And Kulczynski is going to take 11th place today in that Category 1 race.
So you can see your top 10 riders in Category 1. Guerra Furmanensis, your top 3, followed by Columbia and Bruni rounding out the top 5. Hallcross, Tomasi, Bjarhed, Velt and Penna, the riders finishing our top 10 here today. 1 hour, 18 minutes and 2.656 seconds. The winning time on this course. Fantastic racing. Don't forget, though, that this is qualifier race number 3. Next week is going to be our finals, and which of these riders are going to final prizes of January? Which of these teams are going to be able to take away the team prizes? It's going to be really, really critical to see. We are going to head to the Yebel Yace, the big climbers finale. We'll be putting words to the action. My name is Matt Payne. I'm here with Emma Martin. Make sure you give us a follow on Instagram. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget, when we go to those finals, the team competition is in play as well as all of our individual prizes. You can watch it all on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel. Femke van der Vliet taking away the win in the women's race here today. Now, a little bit later on today, another Fem van Empel, will be seeing if she can add another win to her 2 wins in Benidorm, where our pro teams are out and racing. I'll tell you something, today's performances here on the Sunday Race Club have been pro. We'll be back very shortly for the men's race. We're going to take a little bit of a husbandry break and to look after our resources. I hope you're going to do the same and join us for the men's race. It's coming up shortly. Welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club.
Oh, look at that. Francis goes out the front and then says, oh, I'm tired. Well, I'll tell you something, Scott Francis. You're only 2.2 kilometres into a 45-kilometre race. If you're tired, go back into the pack, take the draft and save some energy. Alessandro Barra has gone over the top of Marcin Turjanowski and is continuing to push. This is like 900 metres into a 45-kilometre race and it is being dialed. David Talbot and Ricardo Panizza. I might be finishing the Christmas chocolates. because they are now 30 plus seconds clear of the rest of the Category 1 race field. I mean, Dakowitz is trying to break it with Betty and Bjorklund, and they're doing a sterling job in Category 2. Category 3 at 26.5 kilometres. They are a lot further down the road, and it's a big group on the road there. Category 4 are coming up to the 30-kilometre marker, and Tom Walker has broken away. Category 5 riders have just gone past the leaders in that Category 6 competition. They're on the small climb before the Telmarie Dune climb. They gave themselves 14 seconds at the base of the climb, the 3 riders leading the Category 2 race, and they've established a bigger gap. Now it is at 19 seconds. Look at the kick! So coming into the Telmarie climbing section, Osborne has decided he doesn't want to ride with Michael Vink. 1 is what he wants, and he just wants it to be himself. This is 1 rider with a chase group of 5. This is the Category 5 race. It's going to be the first race to finish. Simon Betts, who broke away from the group. The group are coming, but they are not coming fast enough. Simon Betts is going to come over the line for first place today in Category 5, and quite right too. Celebrations all around. Congratulations, Simon Betts.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مشاهدينا الكرام، متابعينا في كل مكان، أهلا وسهلا بكم. هذا أبو عامر من الدولة الإمارات، حقق المركز 18، لاقى صعوبة في الأسبوع الماضي. أتمنى لك العودة مرة أخرى يا أبو عامر. برافو مستر إكساندرت، يتحرك الآن، يسد هذه الثغرة اللي موجودة. 4 دراجين الآن في مقدمة السباق، وهنا السحب موجود بالنسبة للمجموعة الأم، يقودها مستر إكساندرت من يوي كلان تيم. يتقدم الآن في هذه اللحظات، يضغط فوق 400 واط، يتقدم، ومع أيضا كارلوس أوزمينا. الكل يضغط، يا لها من شعلة نشاط الآن. نعم، هناك محاولة في الأمام في وسط هذه القوة الانفجارية. فينك يضغط الآن، الله، إلى 40 كيلومتر في الساعة الآن في هذا الوضع. نعم، إنه لقتال الآن دائر ما بين الدراجين. يا سلام، تحرك في مكان صعب. يا سلام على اختياراتك، يا سلام على اختياراتك. نعم يا مستر إكساندرت، استمر. ممتاز. نعم ممتاز. وجيسون أوسبورن يتحرر من القيود وينطلق. ما هذا ما يفعله بطل العالم الآن؟ ينتقم، يتحرك، يتخلص من مايكل فينك. يلا يا مستر إكساندرت، نعم يفعلها مستر إكساندرت. عودة البطولات، البطل ينطلق، ولكن من يأتي من الخلف الآن؟ من الذي يأتي من الخلف؟ جوزيل وباول وسباستيان الفرنسي، سباستيان وجوزيل. وأول فوز في هذه الفئة الخامسة 2025 لسايمون بيتس في هذه اللحظات. نعم، إنه يحتفل بهذه الطريقة الخاصة.
So hello and welcome back to the MyWhoosh Sunday race, so qualifier race number 3. Welcome back if you watched us on the women's race. If you have just joined us, welcome to qualifier race number 3, the final qualifier of our 3 qualifiers, 2 to count to make your way in to our race finals. My name's Matt Payne. I'm down in the studios with Emma Martin, and we are going to be bringing you all of the action from the men's race. And as you saw, last week's was an absolute flyer. I had the pleasure of watching all of the racing on my way back from the National Cyclocross Championships, so I got to enjoy it a bit like I hope you are today. Now, today's course has an increase in climbing. It's got an increase in distance. We're going to 47.8 kilometres in total, 561 metres of ascent on today's race route. 3 sprints on the way through to collect points for the sprints competition. That's the green skin suit that's awarded. We have 2 climbs as part of the climbing competition, polka dot banners and polka dot skin suits awarded for those, the Alphaqir Hills and the Vessel Rock climb are going to be really instrumental. And the central mountain section that the Vessel Rock climb takes us into has been really key, because that is really, really brutal all the way until we go into the big descent down in towards our final climb. The final climb uphill all the way to the finishing line, and some very, very close racing, with gaps being closed down all the way to the line in the women's race. We're going to give you no spoilers if you haven't watched it. It's going to be really key to stay together as a pack. 6 race starts here today. In the women's race, 6 race starts. In the men's race, the same race prizes across men's and women's race fields. And the first group of riders away are going to be our Category 6 riders. We have our level beginning team, and that is going to be Cassiano Medeiros, Marcus Brito, and Renato Sartorio Ramos here. We've got a race field of 25 riders here today, including Johnson Kutab, Nicolo Martinoli, Riley Milostic in here, Stephen Yates in the mix as well. Do not discount Cameron Danson from the race victory. And Frederick Schoberg has been riding incredibly strongly. The riders in Category 6 setting off 5 minutes in front of Category 5, then 4, and then 3, 10 minutes into Category 2, then 5 minutes Category 1. It's about time we go racing on qualifier race number 3. It's our men's race field. They are out and away. It's qualifier 3. It's Category 6. It's the purple jerseys taking to the road, being led out by Villanella at the moment. It looks like this pack starting as they mean to continue. And Royno Villada at the moment leading this group out and away. Did nobody tell him we've got 47.8k to go? So as he heads off and heads on to the course, Seb's chasing here. Martinolo chasing as well. It's a flat start to this race route, but do not be fooled. There are 1 or 2 bumps on the way into our first sprint, which is our Newtown sprint at 5.3k. Now, 25 riders in this race start, and at the moment, just going to drop in with Wojciech Sebza at the moment, one of our regulars on MyWhoosh, one of our regular riders. It's good to have the wave there. I did wave back, just for all those people who know that I always wave to our riders when they give us a wave, even though they can't see me, wearing the UAE team jersey, the UAE Emirates team jersey there. The UAE Emirates jersey being worn by Tadej Pogacar on training camp at the moment. Seen him out in Dernia in Spain, and just seen him actually at the, he was out in the cafe, making the most of his rides and doing plenty of coffee stops on the way around, which is what we've been doing in between the break, in and out. I think Royno Villarda, he's been doing the espressos at the moment because he's not easing off at the moment. I'm not sure what he's trying to achieve here, though, because this is that you aren't going to solo 48 kilometers of racing. You could make it hard behind, but they're not taking the bait at the moment. You can see the difference in power here. Kenneth Patero, Milostic and co. all rolling at about 2.3 to 2.4 watts per kilo, letting the riders in front wear themselves out, which would be my tactic at this stage in the racing. So for those of you who are maybe new to MyWhoosh, let's run you through the head-up display that our riders get. Left-hand side of the screen, you have got the radar view, and you can see that the riders are represented by a purple disc. That disc is basically 1 per rider. The colour representing their category, purple for Category 6. Top centre of your screen, you can see that we have the watts for the rider, basically how much power they're producing. If they are in the draft, hiding behind another rider is in green. Green is good. If you're out in the wind, the watts figure is in white. Directly below, the watts per kilo power. That is your power to weight that is being produced at any one time. Absolutely critical when it comes to the climbing. We've got the elapsed time. These riders racing for 3 minutes, or will be in about 7 seconds' time as they make their way through. So the clock ticking towards that 3-minute marker. The heart rate of the rider, and that is measured by the heart rate strap. All the riders have to wear a heart rate strap and have that number being produced, as they do for the cadence. So that's the pedal cadence in there. Dual recording key for our riders, the numbers taken from the Turbo Trainer or Smart Bike as they make their way through. As I go on to this climb, you can see top right-hand side of the screen, this little bump they're going up, the gradient, 2.3%. The rider's represented by that vertical yellow bar, the white line coming through from right to left, showing that we're about to make our way up onto this wooden platform, up onto the bridge here, up on to the top above the water. The gradient eases off here. The pace, though, continues to stay high as they go through, and you can see on the right-hand side, chevron starting to run across, the yellow and red chevron showing what's that the riders going deep into their power zone. You can see, though, the riders around and behind Roino Villada, the rider represented on screen, and he's the rider with the blue bar. That's in Category 6. We're going to have Category 5 about to hit the start lines. So let's take a look at our pack in Category 5. There are our next riders away. We have got the BMC 5 squad in Category 5. Agadello, McMurtry, Cridland, Motmans, and Dadson, 5 riders for BMC 5. The Rule 5 squad, John Wakefield and Peter Truber. Now they're going to be up against the Upcycle squad, Dromard, Lloyd, and Mayard, all going to be seen if they can up themselves a level, maybe get themselves up into Category 4. We will see. 46 riders on this race field, Emma. It's not our biggest race field, though.
No, it's not, and we will come to that. In fact, it's nowhere near our biggest race field. We've got 3 fields coming who haven't started yet that are even larger. Well, Montoya is in the mix, and we're in with Montoya as the green light signifies the go to Category 5. And the riders in Category 5 leave the start pen. Otruba is there, Lemponen, Wakefield, Agudelo, Jeff Rooney's in the mix as well, but it's Alexander Fielder who was leading them out on the front. He's just been overtaken by Esteban Montoya. The pace, well, it was hot out of the pen, and you can see the stretch on the group on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, but quickly coming off of the pace and the group coming back together. Just 1 or 2 riders in danger of not making the back of the group at the moment, but as the pace comes off the front, I think we could well see, I think one of those riders getting back on. So Mukhtari, Gavaria, Bertrand, Smithson are all in the mix. Now, Brett McMurtry took the climb, the polka dot skin suit overall last week. Simon Betts took the win in Category 5. Yanni Lemponen took 2nd. Matt Smithson took 3rd. Scott Francis took 4th. And Kevin Motmans took 5th. All of those 5 riders on the start sheets today. As I said, McMurtry took the climb. Tigert took the sprint competition. So really interesting to see 3 different riders picking up the overall GC, the sprint and the climbing competition. As we drop in with Jeff Rooney on the screen, you can see him tucked neatly into the pack. He's on his bike there, and Jeff, ever present on the Sunday Race Club.
Ever present, first ever person to Everest on MyWhoosh, something that will always get mentioned in
and quite rightly too.
Right, the first person crazy enough to Everest on MyWhoosh. Fantastic performance by him. Just seen Simon Betts in here, and we saw on the rewinds earlier on our replays that Betts took the win in this category. Yesterday, last week. It just feels like yesterday. It does, because
you weren't even here.
I know. I know. So it's a little bit nearer for me than it was for you, because I was watching it on the journey back up from the National Cyclocross Championships in the UK, because we are heading in towards the end of the cyclocross race season. It was great to see all the cyclocross family again, but I did miss my esports family at MyWhoosh. It seemed very strange not being in the studio talking to the amazing team behind the scenes before we go live on air and running through those last few checks. It was certainly a lot warmer in here today. And of course, we get a lot more data, and that's one of the great things about this. We can see in with our riders. Jonathan Cridland just taking a drink from the water bottle there. Cridland in the southern hemisphere. We're up in the northern hemisphere at the moment. Cridland, one of our regular riders.
Yeah, he took the win in Category 5 in Qualifier 1 on Alula. That week it was Cridland, Dadson, Motman, Smithson and Francis. So there's been a few different riders in that top 5. this month. So really good to see, and it is going to make it a competitive race today, as if any of our categories on the Sunday Race Club are not competitive.
They don't need much encouragement, let's face it. I mean, we've seen that at the moment. We're 2.5K into the race. We're going over that same section where we saw that climb in Category 6 at the moment. This group is spread out. We've dropped riders behind. You can see that on the left-hand side on the radar view with blue discs being distanced from the main pack at the centre of that circle. Ola Warren, one of our really experienced riders. Ola from Sweden, one of the riders who's been riding with us for a long time now, knows this platform inside out. He's seen it develop and change, and I'm sure, well, I know he's one of our riders who gives plenty of input back into the team at MyWhoosh, who are there waiting to check. And I'm sure Ola, part of the beta testers, new testing of the new game. It's basically the same as the old game, just updated with a slightly different engine driving it behind, which will change things somewhat. Really interesting. Keeping an eye.
There's been some really interesting discussion on those.
The beta testing, really, really interesting to see what is coming in the future. And you can join that as well if you're a regular. You can join the riders down on the start line as we move up from Category 5 to Category 4. Big list of teams here. So the 5W4T team, that's going to be Johannes. We've got the B Strong team, captained by Ronchetti. We've got BMC Racing, and that's going to be Skretting, Horsley, Connell, and Barchansky. We've got the Inner Fight squad with Kriwanos. We've got Level Racing with Svarta, Van der Sant, and Pedersen. Level Up with Western Kirk. Mighty Ducks is Robinson and Pino. I think we're going to have Grote. He's normally rides for the Rike of Finland. And all five's rider Gonzalez. Who's going to be taking it away in Category 4 from the start? Well, it could be any one of these riders, because this group always settle fast. If there's one thing you can rely on in life, other than having coffee first thing on the morning, it's that Category 4 are going to go out of the start pen and somebody will rip it up quick.
Well, they will do indeed. And at the moment, the group is moving out of the pen quick. And, well, who is on the front? Horsley is up there, I can tell you. Harvey is up there, Castro is up there, but the pace is gone at the front and at the right top of this race. It is absolutely flying. No, it is indeed Kevin Horsley.
You're right.
I was right. And Luis Castro is trying to close the gap, but Horsley is dialing it on the front at the moment. Enrico Quadrelli trying to close it down. The Italian rider now sitting up and trying to take some draft, because this is the first 600 metres of a 47.8 kilometre race, and while you don't want to lose the group, you don't want to burn all your matches coming out of the start pen. Look at the pace on the pack. 46 kilometres an hour this pack is moving at the moment. Evan Svar on our screen. We can see him just coming up onto Horsley's wheel, up and over the top. And does he back off the pace? No.
He's going to keep this hard, because if you are a quick starter, if you are feeling good, then sometimes you've just got to use that. You've got to make people work. What he needs now is for people to stay with him and work with him here to keep this pace hot at the front. If he goes clear on his own, whilst it's a great way to get lots of TV time, it's a great way to burn a lot of energy very quickly that maybe you don't need to. Now, I think you can just see Svart there just dropping from the 4 watts per kilo down to 3.6. He's wanting these riders to come back across, but you can see that unless somebody picks up the pace, it's not going to happen. Boomer at the moment leading this group, but the gap's still hovering at the front, and Svart, having kicked out from that start now, really, I think, needs to jump back into the group.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're going to see him, because Armour, Thompson, Van der Sant, Bachelor, are all in the group behind, and it's now wide across the road, signifying that the pack is rolling at a very similar pace, rather than someone on the front absolutely nailing it and everybody scrabbling to stay on board.
Well, you can just see David Young in the pain cave on the left-hand side. He's one of a race field. This is the biggest race field, is it not today? I mean, it is by my numbers, but my numbers are always sus compared to
Category
yours.
4, 62 riders on the start sheets in Category 4 today. It is just the biggest race field, and the riders in Category 4, some really, really strong riders. So let's just take a little look here, shall we? In Category 4 last week, it was Tom Walker who took the win. He's not on the start sheets today. But Skierski, who took second, is Trujillo. He took third last week. He also took the climbing competition. Fourth was Alex West. Fifth was Esteban Pulgarin. Joachim Stretting took the sprint competition. So really interesting yet again. 3 different winners, one on GC, one on sprint, one on climb.
Let's see who's going to take away top spot in each of those categories. Will it be Andrew Neville Ross, who is resplendent in the MyWhoosh kit? You can go online and actually order this kit. It will get sent to you wherever you are in the world, including Australia, which is where Andrew Neville Ross is. Very, very nice kit indeed.
It is indeed. And I understand it may be sold out at the moment.
No way.
Someone was telling me yesterday they were trying. It might be certain sizes that are sold out. Someone was telling me yesterday that they'd gone online to order some and they weren't able to. They were waiting for some to come in. But do go on MyWhoosh.com. There is a shop on MyWhoosh.com where you can indeed buy that kit. You can also buy lots of other MyWhoosh goodies, and we've seen them scattered around the Sunday Race Club peloton, whether that be water bottles or other accoutrements.
Well, let's see who's got a MyWhoosh water bottle full of rocket fuel today. Will it be our Anzacs rider, Robert Edwards? Will it be the Aotearoa Alliances, Vojicek, Squilari or Doma? Will Level Elite be able to fire their way to the front with Rushmore, Rimberg, Allport or Solly? If anyone's going to go off the front early, it could be them. Rycliffe, Finland with Pika, Pickburden and Tweaker. We've also got Sandstorms, Fenderich, Gates and Guerra. Take that with represented by Kansara. What's Up represented by Walter Glace and ZTBR, Moreno, Batty and Kirchner. Time to go racing. It is Category 3. They're your team riders today. They are but a mere soupçon of the entire menu of riders in front of you on your screens as they head out. We're in with Walter Clays, a strong rider when we have climbs and one who can also put down a phenomenal sprint as well. Will it be his day today? He's got to get through this first start. It's pretty quick, but you can tell by the size of this bunch, there's not one long line. It is still a pretty big pack heading out and not under too much pressure.
No, the stretch on the group nowhere near as much as the stretch on that Category 4 pack as the blue jerseys start to motor through the course. Just up and over the first bump of the day, Squilari, Duma, Tidholm, Kalman, Ramirez, Rodriguez, all in the mix at the moment. Mathieu Kalman right near the front of the pack. So is Velez and Rimborg. Eric Rimborg, one of the new coaches on MyWhoosh. You can join Eric on a Monday. He's in the mix as well. And always great to see Golden Boy out and about.
He must use the Golden Boy phrase when he's coaching. Have you jumped in with him yet, Emma?
No. But Mathieu Kalman on the bike here at the moment. I don't know whether Kalman has jumped in on Eric Rimborg's training session. You never know. Great to see him here. I'd love the idea of the fact that rather than giving you a wave, Mr. Kalman, Matt's going to give you kisses back. He is
multiple.
Indeed.
There you go. They're giving him a wave. Much love to all of our riders who are out racing. Mathieu Kalman riding for Poland. Really interesting to see that the riders from Poland are in the dry here. I was looking at some of the cyclocross footage, and the Polish riders in that, they were in the sea. They had a lifeguard. You don't need that. The first thing I thought was, well, do you know what? You don't need that when you're on MyWhoosh. You don't need a lifeguard when you're out and racing on MyWhoosh. And I'll tell you something, it's a lot warmer, it's a lot drier, and you've got a lot more fun. One rider who's always warm on start, it is Luke Allport, the man who coined the phrase doing an Allport off the front of the race. At the moment, he's on the front, but he's not so much doing an Allport. It's just keeping the pace steady. Aren't we going to see a little bit more of a kick? He's certainly wanting to keep the pace high here. Good to see Luke in action once again. Been a little while since we've had the pleasure of dropping in with him. You can see the bottles right up on his right, our left-hand side. And Luke keeping that rhythm, staying up near the front of the group. He doesn't want distancing off the back of that pack. He doesn't want to be caught the wrong side of a split. And at the moment with Johan Moreno, the experienced regular riders on MyWhoosh sitting on the front, keeping the pace where they want it. 25 miles an hour, 40 kilometers an hour at the moment as these riders continue to push.
Well, they are indeed. Allport, Ramirez, Moreno, Velez fell just 1 second back now as these three riders continue to push on the front of the group. The stretch up and over the bridge is a small ramp at the moment coming out of the start pen. There are a number of small ramps along the way before we get to Newtown Sprint. Now, Category 4 and Category 5 and Category 6 already through that sprint segment. One of 3 sprint segments on this course today as Johan Moreno takes up the charge at the front and comes off the pace and says, right, let's just settle down a little bit now. We're at 2.4 kilometres into a 47.8 kilometre race. There's a long way to go.
There is. Do you want to run us through the riders who've taken prizes so far already in the race? Because they're going to get the prize for that sprint segment.
On the Newtown Sprint, I can tell you that in Category 4, Joachim Stretting has done what he has been doing over the last few weeks and has put in a phenomenal sprint on that Newtown Sprint and is currently holding the fastest time and the lead in Category 4. So he will be in those red jerseys with his green skin suit. In Category 5, Christoph Labsno has taken the sprint, that first sprint through there. So he too, in the top left-hand corner, will be in the green skin suit in those light blue jerseys. And in Category 6, well, Jerome Smith held the fastest time through that segment. So on the top right-hand corner, he'll be the rider in the green skin suit.
So I think this is all of our green skin suit riders, I think, that we've got so far on our screens around the top and left-hand side, of your screens. Laszno's power, as he went through the sprint, are you ready for this? His average power through the sprint segment, and that sprint segment is 200 metres long. Laszno's power, 1,529 watts. That's enough to power pretty much this studio. It is. I promise you that it is. In fact, it's more than enough to power this studio.
Yes, but I can tell you, and I don't want to say this out loud, but I'm going to. He's not set the fastest time at all. He's currently lying 7th overall on time through the sprint. And that is about sprinting technique. And I don't mean how fast you turn your legs and whether you pedal squares. What I mean is how you position yourself in the pack to utilise the draft through the sprint.
And potentially how much speed your pack is carrying, whether the race is on and whether the race is switched off a little bit. And the size as well, isn't it? Because Category 5 are a 46 rider pack, whereas Category 4 are a
60 rider pack.
60 rider pack. So 40 to 60 makes a difference as well. So those the times are not necessarily representative against each other in each category because different category sizes and where you are in the racing. At the moment, though, Category 5, at the moment, chasing Category 6. 6 are up the road, though, and 6 are on to the first of our climbing segments, the Alphaqir Hills. You can see the sawtooth profile, top right-hand side of the top right-hand screen. They are, at the moment, making their way through that segment. They've gone through the first of the polka dot banners. The finish is a bit further down the road. This segment, it's long. It is quite a long segment. It's 3.7k, but it's not 3.7k of climbing. Only 50% or so of that is actually climbing. You've got to get the pace right there. Short, taking the time, being smart, starting at the back and making your way to the front of the group, really critical on that segment. That's the riders top right-hand side of your screen. They're the furthest down the road. Then it's Category 5, then 4, then 3 at the moment. Category 3 at 4.7k. They've still got the sprint to reach.
They have indeed, and it's great to see the riders pushing on and racing. And I tell you something, on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, Category 3, those 3 riders, Velez, Moreno and Von Haren, are still clear of the chasing group. Only 3 seconds, but they are still hanging out there on their own.
And the riders behind, I mean, we've seen Ross Solly, Patrick Dummer in there. We've seen Ryan Giuliano. I mean, the chasing group, they are holding the time around about 4 or 5 seconds, but they're not bringing them back. And Moreno, Van Haren, along with Velez, are not riders to let go too easily, are they?
Well, they're not. And at the moment, like it's 4 seconds, they would be quite happy to let them stay out there. The issue is, and we have seen this happen, where 4 seconds becomes 10 seconds, where 10 seconds becomes 15, where 15 becomes 25, and all of a sudden they're gone.
Yep, and that's it, game over, and they've let them go. Not sure that's going to happen this time. It may well be that the sprint will bring the riders back in together again. You can just see there that, in fact, it has. It's brought the groups back together. It's shaken it up. I think I saw go through at a real power there. He's absolutely rocketed his way through the group from the back to the front. But whether or not he's going to be the rider at the top of the standings, we'll have to wait and see. He had caught up with the leaders. He pulled that 4-second gap back. Just waiting for those times to come in on the right-hand side. In fact, it looks like by Emma nodding, the other side of the Full Speed Event studio, they're in.
They are indeed, and Rick Van Erck takes the sprint.
He does. Wow.
In Category 3, Andre Diduch in second, Luke Allport in third. Diduch, 17.5 watts per kilo. That was all about positioning because Van Erck took it at 12.8.
Making sure you're in the right place, the right time is key. The start line is where you need to be if you are part of the Abu Dhabi team, because Jakob Björklund, Maz Buster, and Todd Allen, you're going to be representing them. The Shark and Note team from the Netherlands, Frank Thompson. Our Smarties team, that is a confectionery here in the UK.
You need to be an orange Smartie.
Yeah, Bankster theme, Betty, Ritter, and Walter. There are orange Smarties, are there? Maybe there are. The Hitman.
They are. They're orange flavoured.
Okay. The Hitmen, represented by Olivier Bigley-Simmons, Tatu Koistonen in there as well. The UAE Falcons, represented by Ahmed Al-Tanashi and Zaid Hamden. And the UAE clan team. They've got the big three out to play. We might not have them in the cross later on. We've got them here in Category 2. Mr. X100, Pablo Popovic, and the one and only SS taking to race start. Category 2. Time to go racing. Time to see which of these green jerseys are going to translate that to a green skin suit, a polka dot skin suit, and a yellow skin suit at the end of today's race. We're in with Mr. X100 out on the road, been riding very, very strongly indeed out on the road, on the track. This is a rider who can put in some serious performances on any terrain. Has he done too much work doing other things and not on the Sunday race club? We're going to find out. This is when it counts, because this is qualifier number 3. 2 qualifying rides required to get into those finals.
Well, Havo, El Alami, Theme, Clays, all in the mix here. Coinston is here as well, and Trojanowski in. Oh, actually, Marcin Trojanowski, this course could suit him, you know.
We say that about every course for Trojanowski.
Well, no, I mean, I think Trojanowski is the type of rider. He rides brilliantly in Belgium. The short, sharp climbs really, really suit him. He's on the front at the moment, dialing it with Matthias Vanhe and Jakob Abitko. But the short, sharp climbs really suit him, and there's no mega climbing. There's a lot of short, sharp climbing, and then there's the longer climb at the end. He could go well today. That's where I'm taking it, but I'm just going to take it back to the confectionery of Smartie. The only reason being, if anybody has ever tried the Smarties confectionery, I've always wondered why the orange ones taste of orange, but none of the other colours are flavoured.
Okay. I don't think Martin can answer that question.
If anybody knows the answer to that, biking_Emma, that's where you can get a chat with me on Instagram.
Because Emma's social media is not busy enough already. Please talk to her about Smarties. Meanwhile, don't talk to me about chocolate at all. I'm trying to avoid it because I need to get back down to racing before we hit the summer. At the moment, the only racing I'll be doing is downhill racing, believe me. Right, now, it is not downhill. It is flat at the moment, and we have already got Wozniak and Trojanowski and Abitko at the front ripping this up. We are seeing the Polish riders at the moment dominate the front of this group. Samuel Joshua Canada chasing, and a rider who's moved down from Category 1, Zach Nair from the United States in the mix as well. Marking the moves out. We are in with Jakob Abitko. An absolutely phenomenal rider. I mean, this could well be his day here today. And I'll tell you something, this group, if this group go clear...
This is a good group, I tell you.
Come on, let's see if we can get a breakaway all the way to the finish. And if not, let's make it hard. And I think, going back to talking about Trojanowski, that's what he needs. Because I think this is he's one of those riders, when it's hard, he goes well, but it needs to be hard all the way.
Well, take a look. It's another Polish rider trying to come across at the moment. Lukas Stacko is the rider moving across to join the leading group, which should make 4 Polish riders and 1 Canadian.
Come on, guys. I love it when we get a break.
If your flag is red and white, you're allowed in the leading group.
Okay, which other countries have got red and white flags? I'm asking Emma here, and I'm getting a very big shake of the head here. Can you visualize those flags in colour?
No, I can't visualize flags in colour.
We will soon see which other ones we can add to the mix. It doesn't count if you've got other colours in there as well. Now, interesting to see the response. For me, when we see an attack go, it's not just about who's on the attack. It's about who is chasing and who's responding. El Alami, Simmons, Dan, Nico, they are chasing. So is Ned. They're responding. They're at the front of the chase group. Now, that chase group have just brought them back. So that attack hasn't necessarily paid off. But who are we seeing? Graves in there. We're seeing Betty in there. They are up near the front. They know that you cannot let these gaps go. And they are up and around. Ika Morelli's there as well. And Lewis Ridley. Ridley's been riding really well. He could be another rider for today. He's got a great sprint on him. Krasnick's the same. These riders moving up really, really key.
Okay, so riders with red and white flags who could join the leading group at the moment.
Oh, here we
if
go.
You are from Japan, from Switzerland, from Singapore, from Malta, from Denmark, from Austria, from Qatar, from England, from Hong Kong, or from Indonesia.
Plenty.
Lots of them, see?
There is indeed.
Other flags are available from other nations as well.
Okay, well, let's see what our nations can do, and more importantly, what our teams can do here in Category 1. Abus Esports riders, Paradines, Tugels, Don and Van Els. They have 4 riders in the mix. Alphaqir have 5. Turek, Tolbert, Vajasin, Kaminsky, and Jones. The Boss Moves only squad, Osborne and Knudsen, but one of those is the world champion. Farm What squad have 4, Andreasen, Puckett, Noren, and Plantero. And the Wenger boys, Kel Power, Arnie Yakers, Martin Martins, and Ricardo Panizza are looking to see if they can take away victory in Category 1 and use their teams to their advantage here today. This is our final qualifier of January, the final chance to take away wins before we move into our finals next week, next Sunday, when that team competition comes into play for prizes. But today it could play a big part in deciding the outcome of the sprint competition, of the climb competition, and the race win overall.
Well, talking about race wins overall, Hayden Pucker took the Echelon Racing League Series win, and that has been running on Saturday since the start of December. He took that win yesterday in the championship race. He went head-to-head with Jason Osborne, and it was a superb race. Jason Osborne taking the win, Hayden Pucker around 20 seconds back at the end of the race. But boy, it was a good race. Apologies for the spoiler if you wanted to watch it. Can I just tell you...
Quick slap on the wrist there for giving you the spoiler, but you know what? I'm not surprised because it was phenomenal. And Bjorn Andreasen was really, really strong in that race, wasn't he?
He's been brilliant right the way through the Echelon Racing League. He's really, really been instrumental in the racing and really making the racing, which is fabulous to see. And he's doing the same again today as he tries to push on. And can I just say, we got 29 riders on the start sheets in Category 1. And welcome to Paul Wright to the Sunday Race Club, Category 1 from New Zealand. New rider for us on the Sunday Race Club. Finished 19th on GC on the Tour of Britain this year, well, last year in 2024.
Indeed, and that Tour of Britain was a truncated one from its normal length, but it contained a number of climbs that I've been out and ridden over the years. Very, very tough as well. Be interesting to see what Paul Wright can do here today on these climbs, because in lots of ways this is a very very British style course.
It is actually, with the short, sharp, punchy climbs. And also he's a good short, sharp, punchy rider because he also was 5th in the National Criterium Championships in 2023 in New Zealand. Short, punchy. He's going to be a good type of rider for the Sunday Race Club.
Well, we're going to see if he lives up to Emma's billing, as Thomas Stroll on the front, one of our riders known for his phenomenal sprint, is up there. Before we leave the Echelon Racing League alone, a massive, massive thank you to everybody who has been involved in that. It's been fantastic racing. do go back and watch it. You can do that really easy. Just go onto MyWhoosh on YouTube. I'm sure you're all subscribed. If not, please do subscribe. It really does help us. Jump on board. You can see Thomas Stroll in action in the Echelon Racing League. Do also please make sure you go on to the Echelon website. They're doing some fantastic work with veterans, and Eric and all of the team. That's a massive thank you to them, because it's been brilliant to see.
I'll tell you, if you want to see a masterclass in sprinting, you need to watch Thomas Thrall against Neil Fryatt, because that was just fabulous.
So do jump on board. Do support the Echelon Racing League. Jump on board and race it when it is back. I'm sure it'll be back for more. Do support Echelon because the Echelon Racing Project, they have a road team as well. Help support them. Really, really important.
Yeah, interestingly, they also come over from the US and race the Tour of Britain.
Indeed, and you never know, we might well bump into them there or out and about on the roads. But if you're out and about, don't forget, lots of great people making the racing happen. People like Eric Hill from the Echelon Racing League. Now, just diving in with our riders at the moment, that little bit of a kicker over and done with. The group back together again. They are in Category 1 at 3K. In Category 3, they're a bit further up the road at 13.2K. PFL on the attack at the moment, just going over the top, continues to push. The small group of riders at the front is Fel Squalari. It's 2 riders against the mass of the pack behind.
Well, I'll tell you something. Pierre Fell and Nick Squalari, that's a good duo. And they really need to work together. We've got Fell on our screen at the moment, and you can see him up and out the saddle, and also the concentration, headphones on, music probably pumping, and the two of them doing a great job as they go through the Alphaqir Hills. Now, getting a breakaway group of 2 through this section could be a great move, but they're going to have to work together, because when they get to the end of this sawtooth profiled climbing section, it's a 7.8 kilometre run to the base of the next climb. If you're in a duo who do not work together, you're not going to take the benefit of the gap that you achieve through this climb section. Well, that's Category 3. This is Category 2. And look at the stretch on the group. What a shot. SS leading the charge, and he's pushing on here. Krasnich is doing the chasing. Wozniak is there. So is Graves. Samuel Josh, the Canadian rider, still on the charge. This is the group where we had the Polish riders down the road with Samuel Josh early on. Now the pace being picked up by SS. This group are not letting it go. They are not letting the Category 2 riders have a steady start to this race.
They're not. And, you know, Fell is a class rider. You know, his racing, his riding, his ability, indoors and out, definitely not to be discounted. And if you're going to go play with somebody like Scolari. But, you know, interesting to see the response from these riders. We're just in with Zach now at the moment. He's got SS and Phil Graves around. I think today, for me, how people respond and where they respond, how fast they chase those gaps down, how twitchy are people to anybody going clear. It's going to be really, really critical to measure your efforts. Measure your efforts on the race route today. It's going to be really, really key. Chase down too many chases, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to find yourself getting caught back. Now, interestingly, Mr. X100 here, right at the front of this group, you can see behind there are riders being distanced. There are gaps that have opened because of the kicks and the response. Havo in here. Interestingly, Havo and Fell ride together quite regularly. 2 riders who maybe work together as a team here that we're going to see. We see that regularly. Riders start to race together and ride together, and that's going to be critical.
That attacking Category 2 has split the group. We've got
ruined it.
Yeah, we've got multiple groups on the road. Even though that front group has come back together again, there are multiple groups now in Category 2. This is the push from Bjorn Andreasen on the front here in the sprint, but they're coming. Oh, Ruben Don is kicking it from the back of the group to the front. Jasper Paradines is going as well, and I'll tell you, that is going to be a great head-to-head in the sprint competition. But it is Paradines who's in the sprint jersey. That was seriously close. But Jasper Paradines, what a sprint. 1,158 watts average for 200 metres to take the sprint in 11.985 seconds. Rick van Erck from category 3 setting the second fastest time. Ruben Dont in third. Andre Diduch category 3. Jakob Bjorklund category 2. Luke Allport category 3. Joachim Stretting category 4. Jerry Pippinen category 3. Diego Narvaez category 4. And Moritz Ritter category 2. Smattered with multicoloured jerseys.
Brilliant racing, brilliant riding there. I mean, Jasper Paradines, he looks good in the green. Really good to see that he is on form, and I think could be a rider to watch.
Well, Paradines took the sprint overall in Qualifier 1. Vidal Mayer took the sprint overall in Qualifier 2 in the Category 1 race. SS back on the charge in Category 2. Mendakowicz, Skierski, Havo, Ospina, Don, all at the front of the pack behind. They seem very happy at the moment to let SS push on. They're at the 10.1 kilometre marker. They are coming in to the Alphaqir Hills next. A small flat run in now before they get there. SS is pushing on at 6 watts per kilo. He's a strong time trialer and a strong time trial pace. X100, Bjarhead, Mendakowicz just watching the front of the group, but no real push coming on yet.
Yet we will see.
Ooh, look at the stretch on Category 3 on the right-hand side, though. They're at 16.7. They are on the other side now of the Alphaqir Hills. And that is one long line of riders. The question is, are they all going to get back together again now that they're on the flatlands?
I've deep in thought actually at the moment. I have to admit, because I was just thinking about the riders and how they're playing this out and how they're riding on this one. It's a new course. It's not a course we've done before. It's a course that is going to test the riders. We know that, and yet these riders are being aggressive very early on in multiple categories at the moment, and that's really interesting to see at this stage in the racing. We're seeing move after move going. It doesn't matter whether it's category 1, category 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. People are prepared to take a bit of a punt, really go up the road, take a little bit of a gamble, test everybody else's legs. Brilliant to see that is happening across all of those categories. Category 1, last group of riders, I just got somebody just diving down the road, 8k in, 24.5k now, heading for 25k in. The very first riders out of the pens, category 6, and we have got that group really pushing here as they come up this climbing section here at 24.5 kilometers. I mean, they're basically into the second climbing section, the Vessel Rock climb.
Well, and I think there's 11 riders in that group, so that's a really strong front group at the 24.8 kilometre marker in this Category 6 race. Absolutely brilliant riding by all of them. Kutab, Martinoli, Kennett, Botero, Yates, Dadson, Abbott, et al. In this leading group. And if you look at the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, there is a lot of daylight behind this group. So they're going into this climb really strongly.
They are, and I think, let's see if Kennett can hold on to that polka dot jersey. He's the rider leading as they came in. He'll need to defend that on the climb. Meanwhile, Category 2, SS up the road. He's continuing. He's being joined here by James Krasnich. Krasnich at the moment with 9 seconds back to the pack behind. He's seen SS go down the road. He's aware of the danger of that happening. He wants to get back on, and I think he's another of these riders who wants to make it hard early. He can see that we are coming up towards the Alphaqir Hills. He's going to come in with SS, I think, as the first riders in there. We've got this little rise that they're going over now, but then we climb up into the hills proper, and that is that long section that takes us through 3.7 kilometers of climb segment, half of which is going up and about half of which is going down. The polka dot banner signifying the start of that just in front of the riders.
Well, somebody had to mark SS out. I think the UAE clan team rider about to go under the polka dot banner signifying the start of the Alphaqir Hills here on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Krasnich goes under now. at around 4 seconds. 14 seconds further back are the rest of the pack. Well, in with Simon Walter, as you can see at the moment. He's right on the front of the group. Carlos Ospina, Lucas Hoffman is there as well. Mohamed El Alami, Alex van der Bulk is in there too as Carlos Ospina. The pace will pick up from the group. Walter picking up the pace, picking up the power as they go into the first of the climbs. There's an assumption here that they will bring those two riders back naturally through these climbs. Whether that plays out or not is going to be another matter.
Yes, the pressure is on as well. You hit the segments, and because I don't think it's just because the segments have prizes on them now, but you hit a segment and people just pick up the pace. They want to be up there. They're also worried that somebody else will do it, and sometimes it's not because anybody's going to do it. They're all just responding to each other as a preemptive response to an attack that never actually was going to come. And that is why you see that pace pick up. Matthias Van Heet at the moment just are holding the wheels as Simmons and Volta down up there, Bjarhead up there. The gap currently hovering around about 10 to 12 seconds to SS Krasnic, just that little bit closer. He's gone over the top. The time gaps will yo-yo. The time gaps are a live time gap based on distance covered and speed that the riders are traveling. So those time gaps are fluid. They will go up and down as the terrain and speed of the riders change, and that is going to be really, really critical. What will that time gap be coming out? Will they have stayed away? Difficult to do so with the pressure on here. You can see from the radar view that where Matthias Van Heet is out of the saddle at the moment in his pain cave, his avatar is right at the front of this group. He's in that big pack behind. Riders in ones and twos are being distanced. They're then coming back together again. They're being distanced, coming back. You can only do that so many times. Krasnic can only respond so many times. He's pushed on here to try and get SS back. Unfortunately for him, he didn't make that wheel, and he's got the pack coming. And now it's about making sure. I think it's pretty inevitable he'll get caught back. Will he then be able to jump in, or will he get distance? Category 2 right-hand side of the screen, that's all action. Category 1, we've got Thomas Stroll on the move again.
Well, he's doing an SS.
He
he's
is.
Going
same
clear.
Place almost.
Well, it is actually, you're quite right, almost exactly the same place as SS, pushing on between the bump on the road and the sawtooth profile of the Alphaqir Hills, which are coming up for Category 1. Jason Osborne very quickly closing down Thrall. Pucker straight onto Osborne's wheel. Knudsen is there. Vujasin, Kroll, Power, all coming back. This big group of Category 1. The pack is rolling, and they are rolling strongly. Thomas Thrall coming back into the group as they go past one of the Category 2 riders, the earlier starting riders out on the course side. Safra Zaidi is there, Vidal Mayer is there, Paul Wright, the new rider to the Sunday Race Club, is in the mix as well. Great to see the pack rolling and rolling strongly. They're coming up for the 12-kilometre marker, which will see them enter the first climbing segment of the day. Here's the question for you, Matt.
Go on.
How much of this pack are going to be together at the end of the first climbing segment?
82.5% apart from Jason Osborne. There you go. Instant answer. I think Osborne's going to go kick and try and go clear and try and solo from there to the finish.
I don't.
I think he'll try. I don't think he will, but I think he's going to try because I think he knows how strong he is, and if he gets a gap, he will not be chased down. Because I think they'll all go, well, we're racing for second there.
I tell you what, Henry East, he's pushing on at the moment.
He is, and that's the right sort of rider, who wouldn't let a gap go anywhere because he knows he can be in the mix. East up here with Guerra at the moment. Those are the two riders. They are trying to chase down the riders in front. They know that they want to get the gap. We've got East here kicking on. Guerra is up there. You've got Squilari behind.
This is a good group, you know.
It is felt. I'm not sure why these four are not working together.
Well, it's an interesting move, isn't it? Guerra is off the front. So Nathan Guerra in one. Henry Yeast closing the gap. Nick Squilari and Pierre Fell. 4 riders now. Johan Moreno is not far behind. That could well make 5. But the gap, well, it's 24 seconds back to the main pack of Category 3 riders. This group, they need to work together. They are strong. They really need to get motoring now because that could be the leading group for the rest of the race.
It could be a race-winning move if they get themselves stop arguing, stop bickering, children.
Nobody's
get back
bickering.
together, get on with it, and stop attacking each other and go for it. Go for it and get clear. That's key here. Now, back in with category 2, as we come up towards the end of the Alphaqir Hills. This is the sprint for the segment because these riders are making the way through. SS is not going to get that segment. He came in early. Skeersey came in with a bunch. He pulled back SS. He's taking away the polka dot skin suit here. So the fastest time through came in the bunch, caught up with SS. He's up at the front with Havo, SS, Bendetti, Nair, Buster, all starting to come through that section. The group, though, has split. There are 1 or 2 riders now going to have to fight very quickly to get back onto the wheels because the pack has the draft advantage. And if that pack move fast, they will leave the riders they've distanced behind.
Well, 29 riders in that main group. So from Skierski back to the main bunch, 29 riders in total. Great job. Lovely polka dot skin suit, looking great on his back.
And loving that emote there, just giving us the...
And a real-life emote as well.
real-life emote. It's fantastic to see Powell Skierski here. Great result for him. Now, he's in the prime spot for polka dot jerseys, for taking away that overall, because he's already got points in the bag. 5 points for the win, 4, 3, 2, and 1 for 2, 3, 4, and 5th, second, third, fourth, and fifth positions. So basically, it's the reverse of your positions. Is the points in the top 5, and he's in prime spot. He's got that polka dot skin suit on now, and that means that if he can stay with this group, climb with them, get over the top, he's assured already of the prize for the segment. Segment prize in category 2. It's not to be sneezed at for sure.
No.
And category 1, they're not far off that place as well. 2 to 1. What the prize is for the segment?
So
Emma?
segment prize in category 2 is 200 AED. That is €52, £43 or $54 as of Emma's exchange only. In category 1, it's 250 AED or €65, £54 or $66 US.
There you go. Those are the figures at the moment on by Emma's exchange. As we go in with Michael Kaminsky, the rider there, kicking out the saddle, the avatar out the saddle as well, pushing at the moment 10.5 watts per kilo as they come up this little climb in this roller coaster section with Justin Osborne and Andreasen. We've also got Jones, got Puckett in here, a real who's who of esports racing in the men's race here today in category 1. 6 race categories out on the road, the top of 4 categories on your screens at the moment, but category 1 in that key segment. It's key for the climbs. It's key for the racing. It's going to do a lot of damage to the legs. Will we see anybody go clear? Will we see a breakaway? Will we see this group be whittled down some more? It's already lost riders. The end of this segment will give us a good indication of where they are and who is going to be in the running as we move on.
No, it is indeed. And still a big group at the front, mind you. Safrazadi, Mayer, Tugels, Knudsen, Vuyasin, Panitza, Osborne, Pucker, all in here, all doing a superb job at the moment. 1 or 2 riders getting distance from the back of the group. It was a big group coming in. It's going to be a big group going out, but it's not going to be quite as big as it was. Andreasen is in there as well. We're in with Ollie Jones in his pain cave on the screen as well as they push over the penultimate rise on this section. There is 1 more to go. In fact, they can see that climb ahead of them. Van Elst is here as well. Stefan Van Elst has been riding really well as well this month. So took 3rd place last week to Osborne and Vink. Took the climbing competition as well last week. So a great day out at the office on the Sunday Race Club last Sunday. Can he match it again today? Ollie Jones kicking, really, I think, wanting this climbing segment because that's a massive push. Vidal Mayer responding, so is Mikhail Kaminsky, Jason Osborne as well. But who is going to take the segment? Who is going to look resplendent in the polka dot jersey? It is indeed Ollie Jones.
Nice riding by Jones there, taking away the points there, taking away the prize for the first segment of the day. His time, 4 minutes, 46.356 seconds, 0.067. So that is 6 hundredths, nearly 7 hundredths of a second difference between first and second place?
So I'm going to tell you, 18 riders in that leading group going through underneath that polka dot banner together in Category 1. Ollie Jones, Vidal Mer, Mikkel Kaminski, Jason Osborne, Michael Knudsen, Bjorn Andresen, Johan Noren, Lionel Vujasin, Syed Safrazadi, Leonard Tugels, Daniel Turek, Hayden Pucker, Kel Power, Stefan Van Elst, Christoph Kroll, Lyndon Millerstick, Arnie Jacobs and Ricardo Panizza. What a group.
If you were to look at the current crop of riders on esports, who's missing? Vink?
Michael Vink's not on the start sheets today.
But you look at the group and you just think, if you were to say pick 18 riders, 20 riders, you're in that. They're going to be the names that you're talking about.
Well, yes, but I think there's a few others as well. And I also think,
yes, I'm not saying it's the only ones.
No, they're not the only ones, but they are right.
There's nobody in there who shouldn't be there.
No, Thomas Thrall and Bruce Bird raced yesterday.
Yes.
They are off the back of the pack now. Also, Mikel Plantero not in the group. He's a little bit further back too. David Talbot and Martin Martins as well.
So we're going to see if he is able to get back as we see the world champion in that Jersey one in Abu Dhabi in October of 2024. Jason Osborne starting to wind on the front, starting to show those colours up at the very front of the race, and you can see the result lined out on the road now. Category 1, riders distance behind. He does not want to let them come back, and that is a thought that is shared by a lot of this group on the front, because as soon as Osborne comes off, there are others ready and waiting to take up the reins to keep this charge rolling. 18.7k covered. People being distanced in Category 1. Category 2, well, they're a little bit further up the road, as are Category 3. Category 3, in fact, on to the second of our climbs, as are Category 4. And over the top of the banner, Maciej Skierski goes through. Surely that is him now secured, not just with one win in the points for the climb, but a second win in the climb segment, and also taking away the overall in Category 4. Just seeing him come over the line on the right-hand bottom of your screen.
Yeah, he is indeed, and that is great to see. And I'm just taking a look on the Category 3 on the left-hand side, whether our breakaway group of 4 are still clear on the climb. And that is going to be an interesting one to take a look at. But Edwards climbing well, Karlstrom climbing well, Kalman climbing well, Tidholm is there as well. It's going to be a great race today.
Really interesting the way the racing is playing out. Very aggressive racing in all of these race categories. Skierski really racing for those climbing points, going off, just being closed down by Isif. Meanwhile, Category 3, we've seen that attack. We've seen that stay clear. That's still 20 seconds up the road at the moment in Category 3 with that breakaway that's gone clear. Category 1, we've got a rider on the attack at the moment from the leading group as well. Just starting to break that up again and being chased by Osborne. You can see at the moment the riders on your screens, the riders that we're in with at the moment. So top to bottom, the avatar matching the rider. Some very interesting things, and you can see that we've got both Skierskis in here. We've got Powell and Maciej in here in categories 2 and category 4. Always love families that are out and racing together. I wonder if they're in the same location, guys. Are you in the same place, or are you in different locations?
Well, they're obviously not in the same room.
Might have a green wall and a white wall.
Well, that's very true. Who knows? But they are indeed both doing the business on the Sunday Race Club at the moment, just in different categories. As we see 4 categories on our screen at the moment. Category 1 on the top left, Category 2 top right, Category 3 bottom left, Category 4 bottom right, and Maciej Kalman is absolutely dialing it at the moment. But I can tell you the group of 4 riders are indeed still down the road in Category 3. They're 20 seconds clear of the chase from Maciej Kalman. Category 1 is Bjorn Andreasen yet again on the front. Really wanting to do the business at the moment. 20.7 kilometres raced in the Category 1 race. They're on the flatlands at the moment, and Andreasen is dialing it.
That move of his where he went clear off the front, he doesn't want this to be an easy race today. You'd think I wonder whether he's thinking, well, we need to make this hard because there was a hard race yesterday, and maybe if we accumulate enough fatigue over yesterday's race and today's race, we're going to put some damage into Osborne. Because he was racing hard yesterday, he's racing hard again today. And it may well be that by having a slightly easier race yesterday, he can now stick it to him today.
He's on the Farm Watts squad with Hayden Puckett and Johan Noren and Mikel Plantero. It could well be team tactics. You are quite right.
Maybe. It's not the first time.
It won't be the last.
Well, yeah, that's something because I make loads of predictions. Some of them about to come right now. In with Category 2, I'm going to predict this is one man who's not going to give up. It is Mr. X100 chasing to get back on to this leading group at the moment as they come through the start of this climb. He doesn't want to be distanced away from this group. He wants to give himself the best chance. This climb is one where he's going to need to sit at a pace. They're working the way in through Category 3. Riders Beatty just being passed here by Mr. X100. He's on to the wheels of Sebastian Havo. You've got Nair Buster, Nico Van He and Co in front of him. That is a big pack of riders. Getting into that draft is key. We're still traveling at 37 kilometers an hour. That draft has an effect. These riders need to be in the mix. We are making our way at 24.5k in up on to the climb. This will be critical.
Well, the leading group, I'm just going to give you an update on Category 3, the 4 riders going through the top of the Vessel Rock climb together. That was indeed Pierre Fell, Henry Yeast, Nick Scolari and Nathan Guerra, chased by 20 riders in the chase group in Category 3. This is Category 2 we are in with at the moment on the same climbing section. Mohamed El Alami, the man with the best bike art in the business, on his wall behind him. He's also got the legs to match it because he's a strong rider in Category 2 on the Sunday Race Club, with Don, with Bierhead, with Nico, with Havo and Walter as well. They are also doing the chasing. It's Phil Graves. He's one of the riders up the road. Marcin Trosznowski is there as well. So's X100, but the pack now swarming over the top.
It is like a big squadron of bees going over. They are just rolling around. They're changing position. But look at this. Mr. X100 is not wanting to let anything move on here. 25.4k into this race. We still got more climbing to go. Graves is up the road, so is Trosznowski. Meanwhile, in Category 1, Jason Osborne just testing his legs out. Osborne tests his legs. The rest of the group respond. As Osborne shuts down, the group come back. How many times can they hold the world champion back? He is looking like he really means business here today. He's not letting much go down the road. He's responding very quickly, and then he's shutting down. He's testing them. He's probing. He's seeing just what they can do. How much have they got in the tank? How often can they respond, and how quick is that response?
Well, how many of those riders in that Category 1 pack are part and parcel of the let's send riders down the road and make Osborne work gang? And how many riders does it take in Cat 1 to beat Jason Osborne?
Lots. At the moment, he is on a serious fade of form. I mean, he's absolutely flying at the moment. But that's true of riders across all of our race categories. Now, we're going to take a little bit of a dive across to Categories 5 and 6. It's been a little while since we've been in with them. We're in with both our Dadsons at the moment. Mark Dadson in Category 5 and Cameron Dadson in Category 6. Cameron currently laying in 7th place in the Category 6 race. And not far behind, Mark Dadson in the leading group in Category 5, starting to close down on Cameron. It won't be long till Cameron could see them in the rear view mirror if he had any.
Well, I tell you what, that's a massive pack of Category 5 leaders, still at the 35.2 kilometre marker. They're coming to the top of that climbing segment, and then they've got the long downhill run and the move into the final climb of the day. But that is one big group.
It's a big group coming, and they're coming up fast at the moment on the riders in front. Don't forget, this is all about making sure that you're in contention for the overall as well as for the segment prizes. This group are chasing. They're coming up towards the top of the climb here.
Do you know there's not a big gap back either?
There's not a big gap. And this front group, we're looking, what, 9, 10, 11, 12 riders, Emma, in the leading group. But behind them, there's riders that could get there as well. So
Look at the dig. Look at the dig from Xavier Maillard at the moment. The phenomenal amount of work going in to get onto the back of that group, getting onto Mark Dadson's wheel. Absolutely nailing it and knowing that if he's not in the mix now, he's not going to be anywhere near at the finish. So Maillard doing a phenomenal job. Scott Francis, the next rider back with Christophe Labneau and Florian Dromard. But Maillard joining Smithson, Dadson, Tortoretto, Warren, et al. In this leading group.
Really interesting. I mean, I'm just looking at this and just thinking, we've got riders racing up to the top of that section. You can see that in the Category 5 race at the moment, going over the top of that section there. Category 6 leader Dylan Kennett has gone over the top. Yep. He's got that skin suit. That's his now. There are no more climbs. There's no more climbing points that are going to disappear from him. He has taken away the win in both of those. Got that overall position, but he's also put him in the lead here, 23 seconds in the lead, and he's on that descent. Now, in other categories and in the preceding race, we saw riders coming back together on the top section before they went into the descent, because the top of the climb, the last climbing part of that mountain section, the central mountain section, it's flat for a long time. You can regroup and then go diving down. At the moment, though, Kennett's got the gap. 23 seconds is doable to take it to the finish. Will that be the case? Well, we'll have to wait and see. It's a long run in. The final climb starting. That kicks in. And it comes in at just after the sprint. So that is going to kick in just about the 45-kilometre marker. Remember today's race, 47.8K. Meanwhile, back with Category 1, somebody sorted the road. Who would it be?
Who would it be? Jason Osborne?
Yep. 7 seconds.
He's kicked early, hasn't he? He's kicked early at the just going into the Vessel Rock climb, and he's pushing on now on this section. It's at 8 seconds. So Osborne pushing on. Knudsen now leading the charge behind with Ollie Jones, Leonard Tugors, Hayden Pucker. They're all in the mix at the front of the pack. That pack's so tight. They look like they're one rider all on top of each other on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. But Osborne is now dialing it on the front, and he's having to put in huge numbers to keep that gap. It's not a big gap. And this climb, it's really interesting because it goes up and then it goes flat. It goes up and then it goes flat. And it gives respite to the riders and allows them to keep the pace fairly high.
It does. It's sprint, stop, sprint, stop, sprint, stop, which is difficult if you're a rider who likes a good, strong pace all the way up. Pavel Skierski here sprints over the top. He really did use his last kick there to his advantage. He's going to take away the polka dot skin suit because he has taken 2 wins out of 2. Here to see him at the top of the screens there with that polka dot skin suit. Havo had it briefly off him, but at the moment it's Skierski who's shown with that skin suit.
Well, it is indeed Skierski because of the points in the overall climbing competition. Sebastian Havo actually fastest up the Vessel Rock climb in Category 2.
So really interesting. He will get rewarded the fastest time up that segment.
Tell you what, 19 riders in that group.
It's going to be rewarded. He has got prizes, but with 19 riders in that group, it's going to be difficult when you come in to the finish. They're going to need to try and break that down before they get on that final climb, unless they're confident they are a good climber. Meanwhile, a lot lower down those slopes, but coming up quickly is Jason Osborne. The gap currently up to 15 seconds, and this could well be This is game over for the rest of the race, unless Jason Osborne has a major disaster.
Well,
here.
he's got 20 kilometres still to go in the race. He's only just over halfway on the 47.8 kilometre race, and Osborne now 12 seconds the gap.
But everybody else is looking and thinking, well, we've still got a second place. We've still got the climb segments potentially. But the climb segments, this one's going to go to Osborne. Where are we going to go with that? But I think this is now about racing for the rest of the positions behind. And then they're reliant on something going wrong for Osborne, going too early. One of the key things that plays the platform really, and Sunday Race Club really encourages attacking riders, particularly if you are in categories 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, because you're always chasing somebody. And there's always riders. If you're in category 6, you have to wait till people come up to you. But what you find is if you're on the attack in category 1, you've got a lot of people in front to catch. It's not like if all these riders were in their own little worlds in each category, so each category had its own race, without being able to draft, there wouldn't be that advantage. Osborne has got a carrot to chase after.
Oh, he's got lots of carrots.
There's lots of incentive.
He's got 201 carrots currently on the road ahead of him.
And that shows you just how many people he can chase. And it encourages these breakaways. It encourages riders to push that little bit more.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think there's two types of motivation in a bike race. And there's two types of motivation. And different riders like different things. Some riders like riders to chase. And they like the chase. So Osborne having 201, well, actually now he's got 198 riders ahead of him because he's already gone past 2. Seeing a rider making the catch going past, seeing a rider making the catch going past. Dylan Kennett, on the other hand, the rider leading the race. There are other riders who like the motivation of staying clear.
Well, I hope he's one of those because he's at the front. He's got a gap and he's been at the front a long time. So we will see. I'm sure everybody can think of many, many more motivations to race than just those two. But of course, they are two key types and riders need to know what they are. You have to race to your strengths. Now, coming up to the end of this Vessel Rock segment behind Osborne, Ollie Jones goes through with Mikhail Kaminsky. And interestingly, Mikhail Kaminsky must have been very close on points there. It is going to go to Jones. He's going to take away the overall win. But that would say to me that Osborne, with that fastest time, came through. And look at that, the difference between Kaminsky and Jones. Well, it's less than half a second.
And it's 1 point in the climbing competition. So back on the Alphaqir Hills, it was Jones, Mayer and Kaminsky. The Vessel Rock climb, it's Osborne, Kaminsky, Jones. But Jones having 1 additional point over Mikhail Kaminsky on the earlier climb gives him the polka dot skin seat. Now on the Vessel Rock climb, Jason Osborne sets the fastest time, 6 minutes, 54 seconds. Kaminsky, Jones, Vu, Yasin, Knudsen, Van Elst, Mayer, Pucker, Noren and Andreasen, all from category 1. Syed Safrazedi and Leonard Chugels also go through. Before Sebastian Havo, the fastest time in category 2. The fastest time in category 3, Robert Edwards from the Anzacs. The fastest time in category 4, Nicholas Trujillo in that category 4 race. In category 5, the fastest time set by, I'm nearly there, there he is, Jonas Goman. He sets the fastest time in category 5. And in category 6, Dylan Kennett set the fastest time up the climb.
So here we go. Mr. X100 chasing the group in front. There is Geldins just in front of him. In fact, there he is. He's got the sprint leader just in front of him. They are currently on the front of this race. They've been making it hard all the way through this mountain section up in the mountains. Remember, this is at 32.8k, so they've come through the Face Rock sprint in category 2. At the moment, it's going to be Havad Gednes who has got that sprint leader's jersey, but I don't think it's as clear-cut in category 2 as some of the other categories, certainly in terms of who's going to take that overall, because we still, remember, have the Siamese Rock sprint that comes at 44.2. to 44.4k. That is right before we go on to our final climb. Really difficult place to sprint and then perform on the climb. So really riders have to make that decision coming in to that section. At the moment, though, these two riders are on the front and making their way through the mountain section before they drop back down. This is coming up. So you come out of the face rock sprint, you climb up. There's a little point to this peak before you have a little level section, drops back down, and then the last climb of the mountain, the mid mountains of this race route. Behind our leaders is a train of riders here, because this is going to be really interesting. Our two leaders, Mr. X100 and Gednes, at 17 seconds, Nico, Nair, Theme, Walter, Skierski, and the rest of this chasing pack currently sitting 17 seconds down.
Wow.
It's a big gap.
Wow.
Big gap.
Still a good race to go, though. Still 14 plus kilometres to go in this Category 2 race. And the group are never adverse to chasing in Category 2. I think they're going to be waiting for that climb coming at the 44.2 kilometre mark. Well, actually, that's the sprint that comes at 44.2 kilometres, but the final climb coming not long after that, and around the 45 kilometre marker. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
It is now. Diving back in with the Iceman himself, Stefan van Elst is currently still looking super cool, super calm. Sat in with this group as they go through the sprint here at the moment. And that is the face rock sprint. And look at this. They are just tapping a rhythm out. They are sat in this group. They are, I don't think there is the slightest hint of a chase here, not a sniff of one as they go through. And that is going to be reflected in the pace they go through. Rick Van Aert, the fastest time through the face rock sprint, 12.596. Splinteringly quick time through there. Absolutely fantastic from Skrettin, from Bjorklund, Gomez, Alan Young, Didac, Tong, Segura, Taggart, and Allport. What's missing from this picture? We have not got a single yellow jersey, because I think they have all decided, well, we aren't going to get the leader back.
Shall I tell you who the fastest Category 1 rider was and where they finished?
Let me guess. It was Osborne.
No.
Pushing on. No, really? Oh,
No.
okay.
It was Johan Noren.
Really?
In 75th place.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm just going to try and find Jason Osborne.
Waiting.
Having a look.
It's where we need some of that really naff hold music that you get when you're like waiting in a lift or on the phone for the utilities companies.
I'm singing for you.
Don't sing. Right.
Oh,
anyway,
no. Hold on.
Thank goodness she's found it. Go on.
No. I
Don't
found
sing.
Daniel Turek going through in 43rd place.
Oh, okay. This is an improvement.
Jason Osborne, 31st. Actually, Jason Osborne. It's because he's in the white jersey with the rainbow stripes. He doesn't
Jason,
come up.
So was I right or was I right?
You
Jason
were
Osborne,
okay. All right. Let me
because
read.
he's pushing on.
Matthew, yes, you were correct. Jason Osborne sets the fastest time in Category 1 in 31st place.
Oh, you can tell she's not. I got called Matthew. Right. Dylan Kennett leading the race out on the right. I'm going to quit what's the matter, I think. Dylan Kennett on the right-hand side of the screen as my co-colleague finds something big enough and heavy enough to throw across from the side of the studio to my side of the studio over here.
Never.
Yeah, right. As we watch this sprint unfold here in Category 5, Ola Warren on the front there. Jonas Goman, though, came through from behind. He came through at pace. You can see just in front of him, Ryan Milostic, actually, in Category 6 with that sprint jersey. We're still looking to see where the sprint jersey's gone on Category 5. And I don't think it's going to come from this group. I think it's further back.
Elsewhere.
It is elsewhere. And I think that's because the mountain section in the middle has killed off the sprinters on the way through, as it often does. Now, that's Category 5 on the right-hand side of your screen. They're almost onto the wheels of the leaders in Category 6. They're not far away. Meanwhile, the leader of Category 1, remember, Category 1 were the last group to go, is currently over 10 kilometres behind. That is Jason Osborne. Jason Osborne has about 1 million kilometres between him and the chasing group behind, who at the moment are all just drinking coffee and having a chat.
No, he doesn't. He has 400 metres.
He's 38 seconds down the road.
Well, it's still only 450 metres.
It doesn't matter how far it is, he's gone. That's it, game over. Game over. He's away. The rest of them now are racing. There's still, I tell you something, it's a good job we've got prizes to 10th place now, because it gives them all something to race for, because at the moment he's gone. They're going to be scratching their heads and having a chat about, how do we beat Jason Osborne? What do we do? How can we sabotage him? Can we just race off?
Well, do you know what? I can't wait for the final next week when the team
really
competition comes into play, because Jason Osborne's team are going to be trying to protect him, and the other teams are going to be trying to attack him. It's going to be brilliant.
Don't forget, next week is the finals. The team competition comes into play with those big, ginormously huge team prizes that will be kicking off. The biggest prize, in fact, the biggest solo prize, actually, or the biggest prize for one particular thing, let's be very precise about this, is the Category 1 team prize.
Shall I tell you how much it is?
Go on then.
The Category 1 team prize in play next week is 35,000 AED. Okay, that is €9,100, £7,500, or $9,500 as of Emma's exchange only, for the winning team.
In Category 1. Now, that is why we are so looking forward to it. Not because we're giving away loads of money here on MyWhoosh, but because we know that it will change those dynamics again. And that's one of the great things. The strategy will come into play. There is one strategy for Dylan Kennett, who's at 45.9k. He is on the little bit of a kick here.
I'll tell you, they're coming.
This is going to be very interesting, because he's on to the final climb. His gap had been 30 seconds. At the moment, Botero has it at 18 seconds. He's got Yates, Martinoli, Abbott, Milostic, and Co chasing. But realistically, Botero, Yates, and Martinoli are the only riders, I think, that are going to see our leader again. And it may just be in the distance behind them, and it's not very far behind. Coming up onto the wheels pretty quickly here, I think, are going to be our Category 5 leaders. They're on the left of your screen, Category 6 on the right.
Yeah, Yusuf Khalili is in there at the moment and doing great work with Simon Betts and Kevin Motman. Jonathan Cridland is the rider towards the back of the group. And actually, Felipe Tortoretto, who was in the group last time we were with them, is now off the back by 3 seconds with Ola Warren.
So do you think Cridland or Betts, who've both got a win so far in January, can take another win here today, given that it is a climbing finish again?
Oh, interesting. Cridland is a phenomenal climber.
He's got the polka dot skin suit saying that I can do,
he is.
You know,
and he took that in Qualifier 1 in January in Alula. He's a really strong climber. He would be the rider in Category 5 with a mountain finish.
And that's what we've got. We've got a really...
that I would be looking at.
And it goes on and on. You need to be able to keep the pace if you kick. You can see Dylan Kennett up the road at the moment. It's 400 metres. I mean, we are climbing, so it is a tough 400 metres, sandwiched in between Botero, Yates, and Martinoli, trying to close down on Kennett. Kennett's still holding them off at 20 seconds. Where Kennett could come unstuck here, Kennett could be in trouble, because as the chasing group on the left, which is the leaders in Category 5, come past the chasers
look at the
in
difference.
Category 6, they could try and jump on, and it might make a difference. But I think those Category 5 leaders are also going to catch Kennett potentially, and that could bring that down. Could be really interesting to see.
I don't think so, because take a look at the difference in terms of the climbing. Betts just backed off, actually. It was around 4.4 watts per kilo, and they're climbing much stronger than the Category 6 races, as you would expect, which is why they're making the catch. I don't think at this point in the race, at 46.5 kilometres, you are going to see those Category 6 riders able to climb with these. Now, it's quite interesting, because at the moment it's only 3%. So it's quite a shallow gradient at the moment in the area where they may well make the catch. But towards the end of the climb, where the finish line is, it gets steeper again and kicks. And absolutely no way those Category 6 riders will hang on to the Category 5 when we see that change in gradient.
Let's see if that prediction comes true. Remember, the race today finishes at 47.8 kilometres, which means that our race leader, Dylan Kennett, has got less than 1 kilometre to the finish. He's on the bottom right-hand side of his screen. He's been chased by Botero, Martinoli and Yates in his category. They are 7 seconds ahead of the leaders in category 5. They're on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. That's Tortoretto, Goman and Betts. And they are not on a mission to chase, they're on a mission to attack. And Jonas Goman has gone in category 5 here, and that means that the chase is on. Betts is responding, so is Motmans. There's no side of Cridland. So category 5, an attack on the left of your screen by Jonas Goman. He knew they were coming up on other riders. He wanted to get the draft. He has broken clear. He's got 2 seconds on Simon Betts. Betts the fastest to respond. Kelly is chasing as well here. He's at 4, but has Jonas Goman done the move here? This is an incredible move by him. He jumped, he made the gap, and he now has to make it stick. The run for the line is a long, painful drag up the road. Goman can see in front of him Dylan Kennett, the figure in the white polka dots. This is mano a mano, to quote the great Hugh Potter, who I cut my commentary teeth with. This is one of his phrases, because Kennett is in front. Behind him is Goman, and Betts is coming as well. Goman cannot relax here because he's being matched whop for whop by Simon Betts, and Betts is closing on him. In fact, behind Betts is Kelly, and then Motmans, then Cridland. This is going to come down to those last few meters. The UCI banner is in sight. Kennett should surely hold on to take away the win, to take a solo win in category 6. He's taken the polka dot skin suit. He's the best climber in the day in category 6. He's the first rider over the line in qualifier race number 3. Your race winner, it's Dylan Kennett.
Well, Betts, Goman, Khalili are coming behind, and Simon Betts has got the better of the group. Simon Betts takes the win in category 5, but the racing was hard and strong behind. Jonas Goman, Youssef Khalili come through in 2nd and 3rd place. Cridland and Motmans are battling it out. Martinoli and Yates are side by side for 2nd place in category 6. Nicole Martinoli and Simon Yates neck and neck. That is a cracking race as well. That one is going to go to Stephen Yates, I think. Martinoli in 3rd.
Wow, what a set of race finishes. So category 5 is Betts from Goman, from Khalili, from Motmans, and then Cridland. They are your top 5 in category 5, with Tortoretto coming in 6th, Ola Warren coming in 7th place. It's Kennett from Yates, from Martinelli, from Botero in category 6, followed in over the line. That's going to be very shortly by the rest of that category 5 group. Meanwhile, category 4 chasing hard here. Our leader is Urek Iosif. Iosif at the moment cleared by 12 seconds from a big chase impact. Lopera, Grone, West and home. They're on the right-hand side of your screen. Meanwhile, left-hand side of your screen, I think Henry East is in the lead here. Just checking out the blues, light blue and dark blue, two similar colours, making it very entertaining when we're looking at dots.
Yeast and Fell. Yeast is in the lead here, 8 seconds up the road from Fell, who is up the road from Guerra by 8 seconds. This leading group of 4 that we had in the category 3 race that had gone clear of the main bunch, doing the business on the climb, but now all separated.
Well, Jurek Isef is going to be the rider in category 4. He's making his way up towards the line here. There's a train of riders in other categories in front, but he's at the front of category 4, 5 seconds clear of the chasers behind. Jurek Iosif has shown his colours, and they are going to be yellow. It will be a yellow skin suit as the winner of category 4 here in qualifier race number 3. Jurek Iosif, winner of category 4.
Well, I can tell you the chase is on behind, because Juan Lepera is fighting it out with Groen in the battle for 2nd and 3rd place in that category 4 race. And it was indeed, Juan Lepera who took 2nd place in that battle.
Now, Henry East in category 3 on the climb. This is the dark blue of East. He is clear. The rider behind him, the small figure you can see in the background, is Pierre Fell. East has to give this absolutely everything. You can see him on the left-hand side of your screen in person. He knows that time is there. He's got just under a K to go. He's 900 meters to hold on. Pierre Fell is chasing hard behind it. Fell currently at 6 watts per kilo. East at 4.5. East cannot let this gap come down too far. There's still distance to go. Fell can't kick too hard too soon to bring him back, and he can't relax because Guerra is only at 10 seconds back. This is going to be close as they run into the finish. 5 seconds or so separating our leader. He's yo-yoing a little. It's back to 6. It's down to 5. East and Fell. Fell's kick at the moment. He's still at 6 watts per kilo. Can he pull back? He's out of the saddle. He's stamping those gears round. He's putting down some big watts here. 6.6. That's East in front of him. These two are going to come back together. Has East got a response to Fell coming onto his wheel? East has got a kick. He's got to use it, and he's got to use it fast. Here comes Pierre Fell. He's onto the wheel of Henry East. East leading. Fell in second.
Well, Pierre Fell comes onto the wheel of Henry Yeast. The UCI banner is coming very, very shortly. They've got around 300 meters to go, but Yeast picks up the pace again. Can Fell hold it? Fell sits back down. The cadence is high. I think Yeast is going to get this. Pierre Fell is out of this. The effort was too big to come back and then go over the top. Came back to Henry Yeast's wheel. Yeast did not panic. Henry Yeast is going to pull away from Pierre Fell and take the win in category 3 today. He went away with the leading group of 4 riders. They split on the climb, and Henry Yeast takes the top spot in category 3 today. He comes underneath the UCI banner to take number 1 spot. Congratulations to Henry Yeast. Phenomenal job.
Pierre Fell comes up to the line in second place, chasing Yeast all the way he goes through, takes the second place ahead of Nathan Guerra, who's going to be taking away third place as he comes up to the line. Nathan Guerra, it's going to be a third place for Guerra in and through the line. If they were getting mullers, it'd be the bronze variety heading in his direction. What a ride, though, by East at the front of that race. When you get attacked on the way into the line, what a master. He waited and
panic.
waited. He did not blink. He let him get to him. And then the moment he got there, you saw the kick and you saw the despondency there in Fell because he knew he'd put everything into the chase, and then he's kicked again. Talk about kicking a man when he's down.
Well, just fabulous riding and fabulous racing from Henry Yeast, and really coming into his own in that category 3. I think that's his second win.
East's second win.
Could be his third, but Matt's going to check it out now. Well, Nitko, I tell you what, has been dominant in category 2, and he's right on the front at the moment. They're on the climb. 2.4 kilometres still to go for category 2, and David Nitko right at the front of the race. There's a 7-second gap now back to the chasing group, but the chasing group is large. Walter, Theme, Nair, Havo, Skierski, a real mix of riders in that group, and they are following this man up the mountain, David Nitko.
I make that his third win.
It's
his third win, and his most recent by some time as well. So yeah, really good riding by our riders. Brilliant to see all of these riders coming in. The full results on MyWhoosh.com. Just jump onto MyWhoosh.com, go to the menu bar. You can catch results. You can go onto the events. You can check out what's coming your direction. And don't forget, of course, you can make sure whilst you're online to subscribe to the MyWhoosh YouTube channel to catch myself, Matt Payne, and Emma Martin, bringing you all of the action from the Sunday Race Club. Plus, of course, lots of great rice and racing. We've got lots of back catalogues to have a look at, as if there's not enough bike racing. We have indeed. Oh, yes. There are some real greatest hits of MyWhoosh, including that $1 million championship from 2023, the World Championships from 2024, where Jason Osborne, the man on the right-hand side of your screen, and Mary-Kate McCarthy took their rainbow jerseys in that first in-person finale. Osborne at the moment at 45.5k, leading category 1. The lead of Category 2, not quite so clear-cut by just a little bit.
I'll tell you something, the lead of Category 2, only 500 metres up the road from Jason Osborne. I think Osborne could well make the catch here
He will.
before the UCI banner that is the finish line today. Now, Zach Nair, SS, Christoph Thiem, Simon Walter, Trojanowski, Buster, they are all in the mix here. They're chasing Dorvik Nitko. He's just 2 seconds ahead now because the move is on from the group. They know the finish line is coming. It's 1.5 kilometres up the road, and they know the time is now. They know they need to move because it's a big group. Biarhead is in there, as well as Graves. This is a huge group of riders who could, any one of these riders could win this Category 2 race today.
100%. 100%. Anyone can take this down. This is key. This is when it counts. You're into the last bit. It's no point doing all this work now to get blown away in the last gate. You really need to push. Remember, 47.8k is the distance. 1,000 meters. That red coat, the traditional red coat, will be flying inside here as we run in. It's a long, long run to the finishing line. The pressure is on this line. It's stringing out now. At the moment, though, you can see we've still got our polka dot skin suit in here of Power Ski, and so many of our wins have been taken in our categories by riders who can climb, and he's shown he can climb today. Trojanowski is in here. That early prediction that this would be a suit that that suited him even is definitely playing out. He's right in the mix. SS in here. Nitko. They're right on the front of this group, but will we see somebody come diving from behind and race through to take away the top spot? Walter in here. Havo is in this mix. Could Havo be the man today? Buster has got a phenomenal sprint on him. They might remember that finish as we came in through to the finish of Ghent, where Mads Buster absolutely excelled. That could be how he rides this.
Well, last week on the Telmarie, of course, 1.2 seconds separated the top 7 riders in Category 2. It's looking like it may well be that type of distance. Again, we're in with Skirski, Havo, Nitko and Trojanowski. You've got them on your screen. You can see the work they're doing. Look at the effort involved here in winning this race. They've got 600 metres, 500 metres to go, and it is all uphill.
And Simon Walter has gone for this. He's the man who's kicked first. He's on the front of this group. Nitko has to respond here, but he's got to get the timing right. We've seen riders get overhauled in the last few moments. They're coming sweeping up around the rest of the riders here. Mads Buster kicks through. He's on his way towards the front. So is SS. Walter, though, leading this out still. Behind him, they are all in a long train, a long line astern behind him. Here comes the UCI banner. Walter from SS, from Buster, from Gednis, from Nitko. Who can move up? They need to move up, and they need to do it now. The kick has come. He's gone over the top, and Gednis is going to get this surely. However, Gednis takes away the win here from SS in second. Buster in third, Nitko in fourth place there, all the way to the line. That was flat out to the finish. What a run for the line. Trojanowski, Nair, Van Heet and Mr. X100 make their way in through underneath the Union Cycliste International, the UCI banner, the governing body for cycle sport. What a race finish.
Well, that was phenomenal, but take a look at this. This is Jason Osborne. We wondered whether he'd make the catch to the Category 2 leading group. Not quite. But Jason Osborne is heading towards that UCI banner. He's going to take the win in Category 1. On the right-hand side of your screen, it's Michael Knudsen leading the charge behind, teammate of Jason Osborne on that Boss Moves Only squad. But the boss has moved. The boss in e-cycling. He's in those rainbow bands. He's coming underneath the UCI banner to take the win in Category 1. Jason Osborne does the double this weekend on MyWhoosh.
A winner of the Echelon Racing League yesterday on Saturday. A winner of the Sunday Race Club on, guess when? On Sunday. It's no surprise to see Osborne up there, but this is the race behind unfolding. This is going to be absolutely critical as they come in towards our finish, because this sprint is going to be key. Will it be Iceman Van Els? Will it be Kaminski? Will it be Vujatsin? Chugos is coming as well. Big pack chase here. Looks like Vujatsin is going to lead this out. The banner is coming. Can they go over the top? Chugos has got a phenomenal sprint, but he's leaving it late. I don't think he can answer him, can he? He's on his shoulder. He's pushing, but Vujatsin continues. It's going to come down to the throat. Vujatsin is going to take that. Surely that is down to fractions of a second.
Yeah, so Lionel Vujatsin takes that from Leonard Chugos, Syed Safrazadi. Stefan Van Els takes 5th. Mikhail Kaminski 6th. Hayden Pucker 7th place. What a sprint. Ollie Jones comes in for 8th. Bjorn Andreasen for 9th place. And Johan Noren, I think, is going to take 10th.
What a race finish there. Osborne taking the win, 53.5 seconds clear of second place. And you can see their second to third place are separated on your screens. It's showing that time gap at the moment has been 5,000th of a second. 5,000ths of a second separated them on that finish. Osborne from Vujatsin, from Chugos, Safrazadi, Van Els, Kaminski, Pucker, Jones, Andreasen and Noren, indeed rounding out the top 10. The full results of all of our race categories, of all of our mountain categories and the sprint category on MyWhoosh.com. And make sure you click on those results there. Currently are unverified until we complete all of those checks on the riders, and then there'll be a blue tick next to it to say it is complete. That's qualifier race number 3 done and dusted. Next week, it is our final with that teams competition coming into play. The men and women are going to be heading in to Arabia, into the hardest mountain course, I think, of the lot. It is the Jebel Yais, with nearly 1,000 meters of climbing in 45 kilometers.
That's next week. This week, just to confirm, Jason Osborne took the win in 65 minutes, 49 seconds. Gabby Guerra took the win on exactly the same course as Osborne in the women's race, 78 minutes and 2 seconds.
Brilliant racing. Please do make sure you join Emma and myself for that. We have got lots going on in the meantime. There's lots of great riding. Emma, you're going to be coaching tomorrow on Monday at 12:30
UK lunchtime. A little bit of a change in time, so 30 minutes later than it has been so far this month.
You can catch me out riding on MyWhoosh. In fact, catch me back on the mic a little bit later today on the UCI, the governing body of cycle sports, cyclocross coverage for the round in Benidorm, where we're going to see riders taking to the race start in that UCI World Cup. I'm going to be on the mic there. Don't forget, of course, you can catch both Emma and myself riding on MyWhoosh.
Oh, Tour de Mons stage on Tuesday.
Tour de Mons stage on Tuesday for Emma. I'm going to be racing, trying to get myself back to some kind of race fitness for the summer. Make sure you jump on, download the app, and make sure you join us here on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. Thank you to the riders for keeping us entertained with such fantastic racing. A big, big thank you to the team behind the scenes, both making the games happen and, of course, in the production. But from myself, Matt Payne, from Emma Martin, stay safe. We'll see you again next week.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.